right. All right. All right, we'll call the meeting to order and state that the notice for this meeting was duly posted. There is a quorum of city council present, all except Councilman Smith, who is away on family leave. And at this time, if you'll stand, Troop 140 is going to post our colors and lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance.
Audience. Anyway, audience attention. Color guard attention. Color guard advance. Color guard, present the colors. Salute. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Color guard, post the colors. Color guard, return to post. Color guard, halt. Audience at ease, color guard at ease.
All right. By the way, they did this at the last minute. They showed up to be visitors and we put them to work. They said their motto is be prepared, so we tested them.
They passed the test.
Yeah. Mike?
Ready? Can I flip it around? I don't believe it's on. Can you hear me? Nope. Now it is?
Is it on?
Not yet. We ought to turn it on, huh? I'll let you do it. You're the gaffer. I can yell real loud.
Yeah. Nothing? That one's in the lobby. You can hear it?
Can you hear me back there? You can? I'm gonna talk loud in here then. May I begin?
Yeah.
Well, tonight I'd like to introduce our newest Assistant Chief of Police, Lance Bothell. He's not new to the city. He's actually been here 24 years, but he's new as the newest Assistant Chief of Police. To give you a little background on Assistant Chief Bothell, he started out here during the old days when we were public safety officers, where we were cross-trained as police officers and firefighters, and he's worked his way up through the ranks, hitting every rung on the ladder. He started out as a, again, public safety officer. He became a corporal in the patrol division. He also was a sergeant, a lieutenant, a captain, and as a captain, he oversaw several divisions, including the administration division, patrol division, and the criminal investigations division. So he has quite a bit of experience across the board. He also, or his last post was the commander of the patrol division, which includes SWAT team and all the specialized units such as the Homeowners Association Outreach Division. He also served as a field training officer, a all-terrain vehicle team member. In other words, he got to run around on an ATV. He's also a Texas Commissioner on Law Enforcement police instructor and a firearms instructor. He has also been instrumental in some of the grants that this department has received through the years. He's an excellent grant writer, and he manages the grants outstandingly. In fact, he's helped our current captain quite a bit over the last few years as he's come over here from a different agency and had to learn grant management. He's been recognized as Officer of the Year by the 100 Club in 1993, and also the Houston chapter of the American Society for Industrial Security as their Officer of the Year, and the Texas Gulf Coast Exchange Club in 2003 as their Officer of the Year. He is a graduate of the Fort Bend Leadership Forum, the Leadership Command College Law Enforcement Management Institute of Texas at Sam Houston State University, and he is a graduate of the 230th session of the FBI National Academy at Quantico, Virginia, and he is set to go to school at Northwestern University for the School of Police Staff and Command early next year. He is the proud father of 2 beautiful daughters, and the true source of his strength is his lovely wife, and I know they're all here, and in fact, if they'd all come up, that'd be great. And does he have a moment to say a few things? So I'm going to turn the floor over to Assistant Chief Bothell.
Thank you. I want to thank my wife for putting up with me for the last 24 years. It's been a long road. I want to thank Chief Beresin for the trust and confidence he's shown in selecting me for this position. I'm excited for all the new challenges, and I'm looking forward to making the police department and the city that much better.
Yeah, get over here. I want to be in the picture.
Who's coming up here for a quick picture is Captain Dwayne Williams over our Criminal Investigation Division. Our Assistant Chief Keith Jimson is in the very back, that he doesn't want his picture taken. And I don't know who else is back there. I think there's more. We're going to take a quick picture so we don't hold up the entire meeting. So we're going to wait for you.
Here we go. Brandon and Kevin are coming.
Come on.
Quick, come on.
Say Kevin's back.
Come on, Kevin.
The other members of the command staff that are coming up is Captain Brandon Harris, and this last captain, I know we got 2 Captain Williams. This is Captain Kevin Williams over our administration division. I look short between you guys.
Y'all blocking me.
1, 2, 3. One more.
Thank you.
Lance.
Sir.
Good job, as always.
Very good. I saw Jared back there. Jared, are we all right on the count? Where's the fire marshal? I saw him counting. We have to be very careful of that. So, are we all right, Jared?
No, sir. Maybe 15 people out of here.
Okay.
So it's pretty much everybody on that's standing up.
We have to abide by the law. We just need a bigger council chamber sometimes when we have large meetings, and had we known we were going to have this many people, we probably could have moved it to the community center. All right?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Thank you. I have a proclamation to read, and it says that whereas prostate cancer is the most frequently diagnosed cancer in men aside from skin cancer, and it's estimated 1 in 7 men will develop this disease in their lifetime. And whereas National Prostate Cancer Awareness Month is observed every September in the United States by health experts, healthy advocates, and individuals concerned with men's prostate health. And whereas designating a month for the issue serves the purpose of increasing public awareness of the importance of prostate health, providing easy, accessible prostate health screening, educating about risk factors and symptoms of prostate-related diseases, and advocating for further research on prostate health issues. And whereas the cancer research will embrace our knowledge and improve prostate cancer prevention and treatment. Now, therefore, I, Alan Owen, on behalf of the City Council and all the citizens of Missouri City, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2014 as National Prostate Cancer Awareness Month in the city of Missouri City, Texas, Fort Bend County. And I think we're working. I don't know if we're going to get it done, but we are hoping to turn the city hall blue during the month of September to celebrate this. So thank you. Huh? Okay.
Mayor, I move that we suspend the rule and go to item 6, this consent agenda, and proceed from there, and near the end of the meeting, go back to item 5,
All right.
after you do public comments.
You want to go to 6 or 7?
Now to item 6, we can do the
Oh,
consent agenda.
okay. You want to do the consent agenda? All right, there's a motion to suspend the rules with 4 and 5 and go to 6 and consider the consent agenda on its first and final reading. Is there a motion? Is that your motion?
I would like to move,
Wait a minute.
I would like to move to adopt the consent agenda, removing item 6B and E for discussion.
B and E. All right. So that's your motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Was there a vote on the suspension of rules?
Oh, yeah, there was. They just
Good
decided-
observation.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Now we'll take up item 6B, consider awarding a contract for temporary label services for the use of the Parks Department. Yes, sir. You have a question, Councilman?
Yes, I mean, I can ask my question if someone wanted to go ahead and present on 6B, that would be fine.
Okay.
Excuse me, council member. Al, you want to step up first?
Good evening. My name is Al Guerrero, the purchasing manager, and I guess you had a question.
And
about
speak into that so we can hear.
Yes. My name is Al Guerrero, I'm the purchasing manager. You had a question about 6B? Item 6B, go ahead. Can you hear? Hello?
Not working.
Hello, how's that? A little better?
Yeah, but it's only working
Okay.
outside. It's not working in here.
Okay, that's what it is.
Did you have something to present first? Then I can,
No,
no?
no, just if you have any questions, I can address them.
Well, I was concerned about the small business policy that we passed a
Okay.
while back and how it played a role in the awarding of this contract. Can you all hear me? So I was concerned about the awarding of the contract. I know we recently passed a small business policy, and I was interested to know if it played a role in the consideration of this contract.
Not in this one, because small business policy is for construction only, and it's only for CSP, competitive seal proposals. This is an invitation to bid, so it doesn't fall under the same, under that criteria. Okay, so this solicitation would not fall under that criteria, small business administration. Excuse me. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay.
But I think his question might be more directed towards when we look at awarding these types of bids, do we let all the people that are in this business in our area know that that bid's out there?
Yes, sir, we do.
Yeah, I think that's what Councilman Preston would be more concerned about is, are we giving all of our small businesses an opportunity to bid on this? That's what we're wanting to do.
Yes, we
In our
are.
proposal, or in our small business deal that we developed.
Yes, as a matter of fact, we even extended the bid opening to allow more distribution out to make sure everybody knew about this solicitation.
And how did we do that?
We put it out on a public purchase website. We also send it out to a list that we gather through our website, Missouri City, all our local businesses. We do an email blast notification, and also in the newspaper. By law, we have to solicit in the newspaper 2 consecutive weeks.
And that's the Fort Bend Independent?
Yes, sir.
Right. Have we considered using other newspapers in addition to the Fort Bend Independent?
We actually put that out to bid, the solicitation of advertising, and that's also by state mandate. And so the awarded vendor was independent, the independent, I'm sorry.
They're our official
Yes,
newspaper.
they are the awarded vendor.
Yeah.
Fort Bend Independent, yes, thank you. So we did go through we solicited bids, went to a competitive bid process, and they were awarded that award.
Okay.
Okay? Is there other questions?
Yeah, I just have a follow-up question to what Chris was asking. Since I overheard this, in here it talks about there's a vendors list with the city hub, local vendors list. How often do we update that, and is that list from what time to what time?
It's posted on our website, and we update it at least once a month. But right now, we're working on, as a matter of fact, the reason we're working on that is because of the small business policy that the city is.
So is that
has approved.
addressing that list?
Yes, we are. And we're working on, so it'll be updated much quicker, it's just a different format.
Thank you.
Okay? Any other- Thank you.
So is there a motion?
Yeah, I actually would like to make a motion to postpone this until our next regular meeting.
Why?
In, procedurally, if you're looking at me, that would require a second and a majority vote for that to be postponed.
Okay.
That's a different motion than what's on the floor. Is it?
Correct. There's a main motion to adopt, and subsequently up in the ranking of motions, there's a motion to postpone to a date certain. That, in order for that to be considered, it would require a second and a majority vote, a vote of 4.
Why would we want to postpone it?
For discussion.
We can discuss it
We
now.
can discuss it now.
Well, no, I believe that it should be considered at our next council meeting,
Why?
because that will give us more time to look into this.
I don't need any more time.
Well, you don't have to vote for it.
And I plan on not voting for it, but I just want to let you know, the other thing that really kind of bothers me about this, and I just have to be honest, if I had a business and I was in the business of getting city contracts, nobody would have to tell me where to look if that's what I did for a living. I would be doing that on a regular basis, everywhere that I can to get some money, business to put some money in my pocket. My accountability are to those citizens out there, not the businesses. Okay? And so that's who we should be accountable for. We haven't done anything wrong. We're doing the bill through the process, has been notified. We published it in the paper according to law. It's time to move on. We got to provide these services that citizens need and not just sit around and discuss it without any real reason for discussing it.
Well, I believe there's room for
Then
improvement.
tell us what it is.
Well, if we're going to take the vote, I think that would be the proper action to take at this time.
No one seconded his motion.
Oh, I know that, so.
I'll second it.
Okay. Been a motion and a second to postpone the item. All those in favor?
Wait, what's the motions on the table?
The motion is to postpone 6B
To the
to
next
the
meeting.
next city council meeting.
What was the motion prior to that?
The main motion to adopt.
Yeah.
The consent
Did we vote
agenda.
did we vote on that?
If you'll take a look at this ranking, right here, you've got your motion to adopt 6B, and then you've got your motion to postpone. We go up and then we go down. Right now, the motion on the table is the motion to postpone.
Then we'll
And-
go back to the main motion.
Of just this one item? Or the
Right, they've
entire-
been pulled, the B and the E have been pulled from consent, so they're being discussed separately.
Right. And who made the motion to approve B? I don't think there was one.
There was either.
There has not been one.
Okay.
All I had was a motion to approve A, C, and D, and that was voted on. So now I need a motion to approve B.
Move to approve.
All right. Is there a second to that? Now, we had a discussion, so we'll vote on that motion to approve 6B, right?
No, because there's a motion
To
to
postpone.
postpone, that has to be discussed first before
Okay.
the main motion
All
can be
right, so
discussed.
there was a motion by Councilman Preston, I'm going to get all this down, and a second by Councilwoman Ford to postpone B, right?
Yes.
All right, so there's a motion and a second. All those in favor of postponing B? All opposed?
The motion fails for lack of a majority.
Right, motion
Right.
fails. Now we'll vote. Now there was a motion to approve the item, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
As staff, we're a little concerned about,
Huh?
as,
Hang on, let me,
Okay.
what?
To approve the item that we just postponed to?
We didn't
That
postpone
failed.
it. That failed.
Okay. For the rest of the items?
No, that one item failed to postpone. Now we're voting on to approve the, there's been a motion to approve the item. Now we need to vote on that.
I guess one of the things that staff would probably like a little bit more information on is, we contacted 180 local and hub vendors on this this bid. The lowest bid was awarded to Advanced Services, or we're asking to have bid, which is about $2,000 less than the next highest or lowest bid. What's the concern, I guess, that council has about this item?
Well, I think you need to ask Councilman
How we're
Preston. I'm not
advertising.
concerned about it.
How we're advertising.
Our advertising was done
180 vendors, we
through,
asked?
yeah, through as far as email blasts, like I said, through
How many
the
more
local
can you ask?
newspaper, through just any who might be interested. Of those that we sent, of the 180, only 17 actually downloaded. Was there, I guess, another, what was the next, I guess, concern you might have about that?
That is my concern, how we're advertising. That's
Where-
my concern.
Do you have a concern about another place we should be advertising, or
I do. I think the advertisement can be improved.
any specific, I guess, is
Yeah.
my question?
Because the official newspaper
Because we may
that
actually
we're
be
obligated
advertising
to
or pushing it
advertise
out
in.
where you think we might should be
Yeah.
pushing it. So anything specific that you might have that you want us to consider?
Yeah, there are other newspapers out there that we should look at
But Chris,
utilizing for
they're not the
advertising.
official newspaper. We have an obligation to advertise in the official newspaper of the city of Missouri City, not the others. They were awarded the contract on a fair bid. Now, if we start going and advertising in the Star and all the others, there's no reason for us to take a bid on the advertising. We have to honor the contract we have.
But the point here is that I'm not going to vote to spend citizens' money to advertise in other newspaper when we are doing everything. It's a matter of trust. Do you trust that the staff is doing what they're supposed to do? You know, and I trust because I know that they're doing what they're supposed to do in accordance with state law and in accordance with our policies. That's all we can ask for.
I trust in their ability as well. They work within the confines
But when
and the parameters that we set. And I believe that the process can be improved with how we advertise.
One of the places,
And wait, hold on. And we spend citizens' money to satisfy you with the fact that we are contacting small businesses. When
It
that's what
doesn't
they-
satisfy
that's
me,
not-
it satisfies the
it-
entire community.
No, it's only satisfy you because nobody else may have that issue.
most
Only
of
you.
the times, when we talk to vendors, both large and small, they're looking at their specific sites that they're going to where bids are pushed out to. So they're not normally checking out newspapers unless it is the newspaper of record for that city, because most cities have moved away from that. In fact, we've often pushed legislation to try to just get out of that altogether.
And we
because
will
people are
again this
looking
year.
at either the websites or they're looking at their own, whatever vendor-specific websites that are out there, because that's where the push has been. So newspapers has been something that we've really not seen anything of a return from, because especially for these vendors here, they're not going to be picking up the local newspaper. They're going to be going to either our website or to their own websites or to where it's being pushed out to them.
Well, is that a fact? I mean, can we prove that? You're saying that they don't
If you
pick up
want-
the newspaper?
For the most part, yes. I mean, you could ask most vendors, and you'd find out as far as where they're pulling it from. Recent one regarding even contractors of discussion was, where do they go to get information? Not a single one of them mentioned the newspaper. They look as far as online to where they're going for their bids or their opportunities.
Well, we have a workshop that I've asked for to come up here pretty shortly, and we're going to find that out. But Chris, let me just tell you that the Independent that we advertise in today is the only newspaper in Fort Bend County that goes to every business and home in Missouri City. That's why we took them instead of the Star and the others, because the Star and some of the other papers do not throw to the entire city. I bet most people sitting in this audience out here probably have never even seen the Star because it doesn't come to them.
No, some of them have, but lately.
But not lately. They get the Independent, hopefully, because it's mandated by our contract. If they're shaking their head no, then we're fixing to talk to the Independent editor, because that's part of our contract. But, you know, again, these guys, and let me tell you, I've financed small businesses for 50 years. They know where to go find contracts. I don't know how many more we could go advertise to than 170 in this area. But if there are more than that, I think our workshop, and I've already begun to work with some small business lenders and some people to come help us put on that workshop whenever it is, in October, whenever we want to try to do it. But, you know, we have those vendors come to the city from time to time. I know planning, our inspectors do, to tell them about new changes in the codes and stuff like that. So, again, I don't know. I think we publicized in the paper that we're looking for businesses in Missouri City. I think some of us up here fought hard to make sure that they got 5 points to do that instead of Houston. But, you know, I think we're doing what we need to do, and if they're not taking advantage of that, yeah, we need to find out why. But Chris, I don't think we can sit here and continue to postpone things while we're waiting for people to do what they need to be doing on their own.
You know, since we got into this little bit of the discussions, I do have, you know, a few questions or concerns. One is that when I first started on council, it used to be Fort Bend Star. And then there was a contract, they were up for contract, and it was bidded out, and it went to Fort Bend Independent. Now, and I know that that's not a long-term, as those contracts comes up, every newspaper that delivers to our area has that opportunity to bid, just like all these contracts do. So, I did notice, reading under this section, that according to this contract, this will save the city about $5,500 annually. Correct me if that's wrong.
That's correct.
So, only question that I had asked even earlier to the gentleman here on purchasing department was that these vendors list are, how often do we update those? And that, you know, that would definitely give a benefit and opportunity to the community as a whole.
Absolutely.
That you talked about. So I think as we're coming up with the small business program, I think we need to go ahead and approve this and then look at that plan. Let's build that plan. Let's look at your concerns onto those, on that vendors list, and concentrate on that small business development and not hold this back unless if you have any additional concerns that you feel that anything that's talked about up here hasn't been addressed. You know, and that's my suggestion. It's up to you.
Let's vote.
And I think we can. I think we can address what Chris is concerned about and build on that list. That's what we need to do. But
Yeah,
I don't know how much more
and
we
I'm
can.
with you. I strongly feel that we need to, that small business partnership, it needs to grow, and I think we need to make that a fine tune. I don't think we're there yet today, and I know staff is working on that.
Right.
But not at this moment, we're not. So we are going with that list, and as he stated, that the list is updated. You know, then again, furthermore, I think staff will come back to us, Ed, on that, letting us know when those lists are updated with the small business partnership.
Exactly.
That's just
How
my
many are added
suggestion,
to
and that's up to you.
And I think each of us up here, if we know people that are in small business that we need to add to the list, we need to contact purchasing and add them to the list. Reach out to those people. No problem with that. Do it all the time.
Yeah, send them to us, and that's
Yeah.
where we get them
We're
registered.
looking for them. So there was a motion by Councilman White and a second by Councilman Emery to approve 6B.
As it is.
As it is. There's no other discussion, we'll vote. All those in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Then 6E. Consider authorizing the purchase of playground equipment. This playground equipment is for Buffalo Run Park, right?
Mayor, Council, yes, it is. And it's similar to the other one. This is also an invitation to bid. We solicited out. We got, I think it was 6 responses. On this one, we received we received 5 responses on this one. Okay, and the questions on this, do you have, I mean, what kind of questions would you like me to address?
We're going about soliciting.
It's the same process, similar process. We put it out to bid. We utilize the city's local vendor list. We also use the for bid independent, so it'd be the same process.
And this one was not up to be utilized with the small business policy that we passed?
No, not in this one too, because the small business policy is very specific. It's construction. It also has to be a competitive seal proposal, which is a different method of solicitation. This is an invitation to bid, so it doesn't fall in that category.
But anybody would be able to bid on this that would want.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, it's not restricted just to small business. Anybody
No.
could, including small businesses.
Now, going back to that, you know, you said that the one that we passed had to do with construction. Was it only construction?
Yeah, according to what was passed, small business, it is construction. It's construction related.
It'll be it's towards competitively sealed proposals versus.
Because of the size.
Because of the size.
Yes.
Anybody, any small business can bid on any of these other deals.
Right.
Right. And they do.
And in this one particularly, this is a pretty small niche field as
Right.
far as playground equipment. You're not, you know, I know of none that operate in Missouri City that operate this
Not either.
type of.
Yeah. One more
This is a
thing.
little bit higher end than that.
Yes. One more thing. This also is funded by CDBG funds, which is a community
Development block grant.
block grants. So it's federally funded. So that's something that's also exempts it from a small business policy that the city approved.
Now, is it completely taken from CDBG?
No. About $10,000 is going to be out of the operating fund, and I think it's
$4,000.
$4,000?
$4,800 is the amount.
Okay. And $70,000 is going to be from CDBG funds.
So that total of 74.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right.
Yes. Any other questions?
All right. Is there a motion?
So moved.
A second.
I'm going to second.
Tim Elliott made the second. There's no more discussion. We'll vote. All those in favor. Motion carries. All right. Can we continue with 7, or do we need a motion to take it out of order also?
4 and
7.
5 have been suspended to the end of the agenda.
Yeah, so you can go to 7.
Yeah. All right, item 7 are public hearings. 7A, public hearing and ordinance.
7A1, an ordinance of the City of Missouri City, Texas, granting a specific use permit authorizing the use of a .82 acre tract of land in the City of Missouri City as a specific use institution for elderly persons, mentally impaired persons, or physically impaired persons, describing said .82 acre tract of land, providing limitations, restrictions, and conditions on such specific use, amending the zoning district map of the City of Missouri City, providing for an amendment to the comprehensive plan, providing for appeal, providing a penalty, providing for severability, and containing other provisions relating to the subject.
Very good. And this is a public hearing, and I do have a number of orange pieces of paper, and I got some more coming. Let me just remind those that have signed up to speak that those people who wish to address council on this item have 3 minutes to express their position, and the city secretary will remind you when your 3 minutes is up. So I will take them in the order in which I have them here. All I would do is ask that you come forward, state your name, your address, and then make your comments. So, huh?
Did we read the caption?
Yeah, she read the caption, did you not?
I did.
You read, yeah. So, yes,
All right, do you want me to?
You
do want to
can.
start
No, you
the
can go
public
ahead.
hearing? Okay. Let me do
before we
this
get
very
into the
quickly.
public comment.
And the applicant has made changes in terms of the size that was previously proposed, but let me just give a really quick overview. Staff's recommendation and Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation. As indicated, this is a proposed assisted living facility, proposed to go into an existing single-family house on Adams Street. And the location is depicted in the aerial map that's shown on the screen. Originally, the proposal was to include a 16-bed facility. The applicant has made some changes to that, and I'll let them present those changes to council and to the public. The proposal would be for a Type B facility as licensed through the Texas Department of Aging and Disability Services. There is a description that was included in the staff report or in the final report that was forwarded to council that includes a description of what a Type B facility would be. There are other like facilities within the area. And so there's also a list that is included with the report that show those other like facilities, both large and small. Staff's recommendation was to approve based on the comprehensive plan and the desire to provide for life cycle housing. Planning and Zoning Commission forwards a negative recommendation, and their negative recommendation is based on their belief that this business is not a good fit for this residential area. The Planning and Zoning Commission also raised significant issues with the number of visitors that might come to the site to visit residents, and in particular, whether or not parking could be sufficiently accommodated on the existing facility based on the number of beds previously proposed. What council has, that has been passed out is we did receive 67 signed protests from residents within the area. So you have a map showing the location of those signed protests. You also have the information that was provided with each of those signed protests. Further, there's a packet of information that the applicant has provided to council. Some of the information was included in your packet, an overview of the facility itself, but it also includes support letters from neighbors of other facilities that they have within this area, and also support letters from people who have used their services.
When you say within this area, are they within the city limits of Missouri?
They are not located, their other facilities are not located within Missouri City. They have a Missouri City mailing address, but they are not located within the city limits.
Jennifer, the protest, there's only one person that was actually located in the actual vicinity that we're supposed to notify that protested?
Yes.
Okay.
And for distinction on that, that property owner provided verbal protests before the Planning and Zoning Commission. So they did not provide written protests, so it does not trigger the supermajority vote of council.
And what is the requirement of the, I know you were saying that there's only one
Is it
neighbor that
200
got, no,
200
200 feet.
Yeah,
200 feet is the state law.
That doesn't preclude other neighbors from protesting?
No.
Okay.
No, they're here.
I just wanted to
No,
make sure.
notice is also provided in the newspaper as well for the general public. Written notice goes out to property owners. We typically send out to 250 feet of a subject site, but by state law, it's 200 feet minimum. So, the applicant also has a small presentation if council wants to hear from them, hear the presentation from them.
Okay. Is that one of the speakers?
No, I don't believe they, did you all fill out an orange card? Okay.
We can go ahead and have a motion to open the public hearing to be.
Yeah, is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Did you say you were or not on this orange? Are you all, did you all sign up?
Yes.
All right, so who are you all, please?
My name is Melvin Lampley, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, and you're,
Anisha Stewart Malvo.
okay. All right, that way I'll eliminate you too.
Thank you, Judge. I'm sorry. Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor and council members, my name is Melvin Lampley. I'm a legal representative for Mr. Harold Stewart and his wife, Ms. Josephine Stewart. They are the owners of the assisted living facility. What we would like to do today, I was going to try to give you an idea of what we were planning to present to the council. And basically, there should have been a package, hopefully, that you've already gotten. And what it contained was information pertaining to the facility in regards. One of the concerns they had was parking, Mr. Mayor. One of the concerns was traffic. So what we tried to provide to you and to the council was information regarding those particular items. There is 2 plans for additional parking that is presented there in the package. Also, there's a traffic report that has been prepared. So what we would like to do, I'm trying to get as brief as I can. I know I don't have a lot of time. So what we do have is a very nice presentation by Ms. Malvo, which will give you a in-close photographic view so you can get a kind of feel of what the facility is like. One of the concerns we had was about the traffic. This is a small facility. The caregivers who come there probably come, say, maybe 30 minutes. They don't come very often, so there's not a lot of traffic at all. The one concern we did have was the parking, so we have provided some plans for expanding the parking that does not seem to intrude upon the character of the neighborhood, so that it continues to have the appearance and the feel for a community, a neighborhood. And we deal mostly with aged persons who are mobile. They don't drive automobiles, so there's not a lot of traffic required by those persons. And so after that, Mr. Mayor, there are some speakers here that are in support, as you are well aware. And so what we would like to do is to go ahead and present to you the presentation by Ms. Malvo whenever she's ready to proceed on that. And after that, if the council so sees fit, have the persons here who are ready to speak on behalf of the community, cozy living community. I think we have a firefighter here, the retired firefighter who's also a resident of the facility. He would like to speak, and his daughter. We have persons here who help provide the plans and create the plans for the facility as far as the parking is concerned. We've provided you a floor plan of the facilities, and Ms. Malvo will give you actually some photographics and an opportunity to see what it looks like in that facility. It's a very family, peaceful type facility. Does not infringe upon the community at all. And I believe that's what this presentation will show you. And as you're well aware, it's a request for a special use permit. Okay. And with that, I would allow Ms. Malvo, if you're ready to proceed.
Okay. Again, my name is Anisha Stewart Malvo. I am co-owner of Cozy Living Community, the daughter of Joe and Harold Stewart. So this is a picture of Cozy Living Community. The location is 1405 Adams Street. The square footage is 4,694 square feet. It is a small type B facility. Our vision at Cozy Living is to empower our senior citizens to meet to the best of their potential, being physically and cognitively. Our mission is to provide dignity and respect to our senior citizens in a comfortable and cozy environment. What makes us unique is that we provide assistance in a home-like environment, unlike the traditional nursing care home model. And what also makes us unique is that it's owned and managed by registered nurses of over 30 plus years. I myself is a registered nurse. I've been a registered nurse for 6 years, and my mom is also a registered nurse, and she has over 35 years experience. I started in surgical intensive care unit at the VA hospital, and she's done just about every specialty there is. So again, it's a small facility, and all of these definitions are taken from DADS. So I provided the reference for you, which is Department of Aging and Disability Services. The state defines a small facility as a building consisting of one or more floors providing sleeping accommodations for 16 or fewer residents, and that number excludes live-in, house parents, and family and staff. We are a Type B facility. So there are two types, Type A and Type B, and the difference of those, again, this definition is pulled from DADS as well. The difference between the two is that a Type A facility, a resident must be physically and mentally capable of evacuating unassisted in under 13 minutes. In Type B, we can have residents that require assistance when evacuating, but they, so for example, like if they were in a wheelchair, we can transfer them into the wheelchair and evacuate them out. Another major difference is that Type B facility requires awake staff 24 hours. So around the clock, we will have staff available even when our residents are sleeping. And Type A facility does not require an awake staff. So these are some of the requirements. We're going to go through size requirements of the bedroom and the living areas. In our bedroom, this is a picture of one of our bedrooms. I know it's kind of dark. But the state requires us to have 80 square feet per bed in a multiple bedroom, and no less than 100 square foot in a single bedroom. And you can see in that picture we do meet those requirements. In the dining area, again, this is a picture taken from our facility. We're required to have at least 120 square footage in one space, regardless of the number of residents that we do have. And we're also required to have an exterior window. You can't see it in this picture, but we do have two large windows in the dining areas. And behind the dining area, we do have a seating area for visitors and socializing. Bathroom requirements, we are required to have a bathroom for each sex. We're required to have a water closet for 6 occupants and a tub and a shower for every 10 occupants. And in our facility, we will have one for both male, female. We will have a visitor bathroom as well. And we will also have a private restroom. For parking, the state requires us to have at least one space provided for every 4 beds. And this is one of the concerns that was voiced at the last public hearing. We listened to you guys' concerns, and we really tried to come up with a solution to address these concerns. And one of the major concerns was changing the outward appearance. We wanted it to look more, keep the residential feel. So we decided, working with our architect, Jim Alfred out there, wave for me, please. So if you have any additional questions, you can speak to Jim Alfred. We're going to use our existing parking. So this is a picture of our current driveway. We do have a circular drive. And our plan is to expand that circular driveway. So this is one of our options that the architect came up with. So you can see that we will continue to have that same residential feel with the circular driveway. We have handicap parking here on the side. So it'll still have that same feel. So that's the first option. Our second option is, again, the circular drive. Instead, we have the 3 parking spaces in the front and our handicap over to the side. Traffic was another concern that came up in the last hearing. There was concerns about increase in traffic. So we do have a full report, and again, that's in your packet. We have the full report. I just pulled the summary off of the report of your packet. And basically, it states that there will be a projected increase in the vehicular traffic entering and exiting the site by approximately 1 vehicle in the AM peak period and 3 vehicles in the PM peak period. And based on this analysis, the site is not projected to have any significant impact on the traffic operations. So that concludes my portion. Here is just a picture of one of our common areas that residents can have activities and socialize.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I forgot to introduce to you Mr. Harold Stewart and his wife, Josephine Stewart, who are the owners. Are you out there? Right there, Mr. Harold Stewart, Ms. Josephine Stewart. And the only thing I would add, I believe, is that the facility now, I think they house about 6 to 8 residents. And I believe with the application, they're trying to increase it to 8 to 10 residents. And again, Mr. The planning for the parking spaces were provided by Mr. Alfred, and Mr. Alfred also provided the information regarding the floor plan, so he was very instrumental in providing that information for the council.
Actually, I'm going to make a correction. We originally were going for 16 residents. We are decreasing that number to 8 to 10. Instead of increasing, we're decreasing.
Okay.
How many do you have now?
We have 2.
Huh?
2.
2 residents now? Do they live there?
Yes.
Are there full-time care that stays with them?
Yes.
Okay, where do they park?
They park in the circular driveway. Most of them get dropped off, honestly. They don't.
The employees do?
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Mayor, if you, I'm not intimately involved with the organization and with the working of the organization as Mr. Stewart and Mrs. Stewart are. So if you have some questions, I think you should feel free, and they'd be more than happy to respond to any concerns that you may have. I believe other than that, we would ask the council to indulge in some of the supporters who are here, if it's appropriate at this time.
All right, thank you. I've
Thank you,
got
sir.
a ton of people here that want to speak.
Okay.
And again, let me just remind everybody to hold their comments to 3 minutes and at least state your name and address or where you're from. So I have Joe Stewart. Is that, Ms. Stewart, do you want to speak?
I'm going to pass right now while waiting.
Okay. Julie Carrillo.
State your name and address.
It's on your screen.
Yes, ma'am. Just state your name and address for us.
My name is Julie Carrillo, 805 Bull Lane, about a couple of blocks from the Adams Street.
Okay.
I don't have assisted living, but I'm been in the healthcare industry and provided care in different institutions, both mental and medical. I've read the concerns. I just got this memo today, as a matter of fact, and I took off to attend to this. And I read the residents, citizens' concerns about the traffic and the impact of the value of the homes. And the healthcare industry is changing now. I know each one of you is sitting here today who would like to have an environment where you have dignity and quality of care of your loved one, your mom, your dad. Most of us have some elderly people in our homes today we're taking care of. And some of us have to give up our jobs and responsibilities and settle for less just to be able to accommodate the needs of our loved one, because we don't want them to be in public facilities like nursing homes where we're worried about how they're being taken care of, bed sores, and all that kind of stuff, because the government and the Medicare more money for these people to live in these kind of places, and also the lifespan is shortened. I would like to be in my own home environment and receive quality of care where I know somebody's taking care of me. Nurses, the care is even improving these days. That Department of Aging and Disability, Mr. Mark Kendall, I spoke with him, where we're going with these healthcare industries. And they're coming to the point where right now, before you own a facility, you have to be a registered nurse and live about how many miles away from the facility. It's costing Medicare more money because all these places that don't have this quality of care, people spend more time in the hospital and end up, not surviving. So to me, I'm in support of this. It's not because of, we're talking about, value. What about the people that live in our neighborhoods? Child molesters, sex offenders. We're worried about those. We're not. We're worried about people who are not harmless. People who are taking the last minute of their time to enjoy the small quality of life they have. I'm sorry I can't be able to continue with this, and this is just my support for assisted living to be in existence, because we would like to have that quality of life.
Thank you.
I would like to.
I have Janet and Don Vincent. I have half of you, huh?
Good evening, Council. My name is Janet Vincent. I live at 11907 Waldemar in Houston, Texas. I'm here very happily to support Cozy Living and Joe and Harold Stewart and Anisha. My aunt has been under the care of Joe Stewart for 4 years. I removed her from a Class A assisted living facility in Stafford and placed her in Joe's care 3 years ago at her first facility for 2 years, which is in Quail Run there in Missouri City. It's a personal care home. She was not happy and was not getting the care we were paying for at the assisted living center that was, again, a Class A facility. She's 90 years old. She is wheelchair bound. Everything has to be done for her, feeding, changing, every bodily function done for her. She is happy. She has serious dementia. Joe and her staff know how to deal with that. She was for 2 years in the house in Quail Run. The personal care home has no indication that it's a home on the outside. There's no identifying sign. It just looks like another home in the community. And I visited her, I'm once a week there, and my husband and I are there on the weekend. So when Joe bought this facility on Adams Street and told me about it, I gladly moved my aunt in as her first resident. It's wonderful. It's a beautiful home. I saw it when it was in its raw state. They have done a fabulous job of making the house a very lovely home environment. I was shocked when Joe informed me that there had been some people objecting to their increasing the number of patients because of traffic. I'm there once a week. My husband is there on Sunday. There is normally one caregiver's car, if at all. Normally, the caregiver, as Anisha said, is dropped off. The car that may be there on Sunday may be Joe's or her husband's and ours. And the other resident, I've seen his family members come and go. These people, remember, are not able to drive, so there's no cars there. Maybe a family member. The hospice care that comes and takes care of her during the week comes maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour, in a normal vehicle and drives away. There are no ambulances there. There are no marked emergency vehicles coming and going unless there is an emergency, like there would be in any house. There is no identifying mark of what this house is. When you drive down Adams Street, what I found so interesting, there is a sign identifying the first house as a bakery. The house directly to the right of their house has 5 or 6 cars parked at all times. So I really don't understand what the objection is here. I think this is a wonderful asset to the neighborhood.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for your attention.
You bet. Paul Ragsdale.
evening. My name is Paul Ragsdale. I'm from Cyprus, 14519 Belvan Court in Cyprus, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak to you. I am here as a board member for the Texas Organization for Residential Care Homes. I've been a board member there for 4 years. They go by Torch, if you look them up. I also own an 11-bed assisted living, type B assisted living in the city of Cyprus. We've been doing that for the last 5 years. We are in the process of opening another 16-bed place in Cyprus. I was first licensed as a real estate broker in 1983, or real estate agent in 1983. I'm currently a real estate broker. So valuation of property values is kind of what I do. And for some people that were concerned that she already had residents, they can legally operate with 3 residents that are unrelated to Joe and Harold. So they are operating legally. People will think of it as a nursing facility. It is not. It is assisted living. Much different. Nursing facility is a medical place. Assisted living just provides care. The perception of nursing facilities is that you have people in wheelchairs sitting on the front porch, staff out smoking all the time, maybe some dementia people walking up and down the street. That is not the case with assisted living. Our place in Cyprus, people drive by all the time looking for us. And when they finally find us, they say, man, we drove up and down the street and couldn't find you. That's the way we like it. That's the way our second facility will be as well. No signs, no bakery signs, no 6 cars parked in the driveway. The growth industry for assisted living for the next 20 to 25 years will be huge as the baby boomers retire. This young lady before me was talking about her aunt that was at a big facility who is now at a small facility, mainly because of caregiver ratios. The ratios at a small facility may be 1 to 4, 1 to 5. In the large facilities, I've seen them 1 to 25. The care in the small facilities is by far better. My father-in-law is at my place. My mother has been at my place. That's why we went into this business, is because we had 4 parents in their mid-80s. They will employ probably 10 people. If they are not allowed to open, you will not have that employment of people that need the jobs. The demand is going to be huge, and the small places are more affordable than the large facilities. They will be able to live longer on the money they have saved than they will in the large places. It is my opinion as a real estate broker in the state of Texas that the home values in the area will not be affected. I have 3 CMAs done. They increased 51%, 41%, and 7.3% since these people bought their properties. Home values will go up or down, but it will not be because of the assisted living facility in the community.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
I would assume that Sharon Ragsdale is your wife.
I'm married up.
Okay.
I didn't hear what he said. I'm sure it was good. But yes, my name is Sharon Ragsdale, and I do live at that same address, 14519 Belvan Court, Cyprus. I, like Joe Stewart, have been a registered nurse for longer than several of you guys have been alive. And like Joe, I have done a wide variety of nursing and medical care. And what I found across the board in elder care is that no one, and I repeat, no one wants to go to a nursing home. Not one. I've worked in acute care, long-term acute care, nursing home facilities, assisted living. I've done it, you name it, I've done it. You ask anybody in this room, would you like to go to a nursing home? No, nobody. And so the residential assisted living environment, what we offer and what Joe and Harold offer, is an alternative to nursing home care. Sometimes that's the only option, and that's what people have to do, is go to a big institutional nursing home. But oftentimes, there is a wide span of years where they can spend in other environments, and that's what they're offering. And I just hate to say, you guys, if y'all vote this down, you are doing your community a disservice. Truly, you truly are. Thanks.
Thank you. Pat Mack?
Good evening, and thank you for having me. I'm Pat Mack. I live at 1615 Bowline, which is in Houston. I also am here as a supporter. When I started in this industry in 1997, I had never heard of personal care homes. And in those days, that's what we were called. And I got so excited to find out that I could help people not have to live in a nursing home. I was contracted to take care of someone in a nursing home at that time, and it was the first time I got really involved. And I could not tell you. I had to constantly protect this lady's belongings. She never had diapers that her family bought that I purchased and brought in. Everything that she had was slowly gone. Nobody wants to be in a nursing home. And I'm so excited to be here and tell you about this awesome family who has so much experience. Now, I did start in 1997, and Joe started in 2004. She is an RN. She has lots of experience. And what we're about is trying to help people have a real life in their old age, not be lined up in wheelchairs and at a certain time said, okay, we're going to go in the craft room now and do crafts. No, it's different in assisted living. It's a family. And they all live together, they eat together, and they play together. It's not the same thing, folks. And there's more and more of a demand here for this kind of thing. In 1997, people didn't know what it was. Today, your walking public are looking for us. And there's not enough. There's just not enough. Let me address the issue of being worried about people's property values. In 1997, I was renting houses. I worked my way up to three-bed homes. In 2000, I had the opportunity to buy a big home. And I did, and I was really, really excited, and I went to a neighborhood garage sale, and I said, guess what? I'm going to open this house for old people across the street. These folks went to the city of Webster and went bonkers. And the law was such that they couldn't stop me. So the city lawyer said, don't worry, we're going to get her on parking. That was 2001. Today, I own two 8-bed facilities, one in Webster, one in Clear Lake. I never see more than 3 cars at a time at any of those facilities. You might have a visitor, because you know everybody's busy. If they can come, they'll come once a week. Some people don't come but for holidays. You might have a car there that's the nurse. You might have a car there that's a caregiver. But we're talking 3 cars. So when I had all this brouhaha and the city of Webster had a similar meeting, and I had my house in the paper and all that kind of stuff, and everybody was mad at me. Months later, I did an open house, and I personally walked the flyers to every one of my neighbors and personally invited them to my open house. I can't tell you how many people on that walk said, oh, you're at that house? I'm so sorry what we put you through. You take such good care of your property. We thought you were going to let it run down.
Ms. Mack, that's 3.
Not one more sentence? Okay, thank you very much.
Let me remind the speakers, when you hear that beep, the 3 minutes is up. I don't want to interrupt you in the middle of a sentence. I ask that you manage your own time. Carmela Pieri. Is that right, Carmela?
Yes, sir. Carmelo Pieri.
Pieri, I got it right. Very good.
My name is Carmelo Pieri. I have a home at 2702 Quinn Canyon in Houston, Texas. I'm a real estate investor and have been such since 1993. I actually started a personal care home of my own in 2001 because my father needed the services. We transitioned him 5 times prior to 2001 in and out of nursing homes. And when I first went into my first personal care home, I was just amazed at the care and the affordability of the personal care homes. You've already heard all the great things about the personal care homes, but I heard what you guys challenged as far as that, the home that's about to be open. Traffic, parking, and valuation. I've got 3 homes that I bought in the low 100s in early 2001. All 3 of those homes are worth over $300,000 right now. Parking, I wish that our staff can all afford a car, but they can't. We generally have one staff member that has a car, everyone else gets dropped off. I wish that the family members visited more often so we can have that traffic problem. That's not the case. People get busy with their lives and say that they don't visit mom and dad or they don't visit grandma and grandpa. I can assure you, parking is a fear of the unknown that doesn't happen at these homes, but we wish that were a problem. In terms of the traffic up and down the street, as you've heard from Mr. Ragsdale and Ms. Pat Mack, we don't cause any more traffic than the ordinary neighbors in the neighborhood because there's actually a vibrant coming and going, people commuting to and from their jobs. Our people are either bedbound or they're in their home permanently. Okay, so the 3 reasons that I heard why there was objections to it, I can tell you as a business owner, as a real estate investor, and I'm also a board member of Torch, these are unfound fears, and that's all they are. They're just fears. They're fears of the unknown. But I think you've heard from enough people here today to let you know that that's not the case at our homes. We want our homes to be great looking from the outside, so when you come there, you want to stay there. When you get sick, you don't want to put mom and dad in your place. You want to come be a resident at our place. Okay, so please consider the proposal that they're proposing and please allow it to pass. Thank you.
Ellsworth Rogers.
Good afternoon, and thank you for allowing me 3 minutes to speak. A lot of people have spoke already about...
Name and address.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ellsworth Rogers, 8127 Cloud Trail, San Antonio, Texas. I've known Harold Stewart for since high school, 1962, so that's about 50 some odd years at this point, 52. And people have spoke on assisted livings, the value of them. I'm not going to speak on that. I think they've done a good job on that. While standing in the back, I've heard some people who are on the opposite side, as they say, it's always 2 sides to every story. And what I hear from the people back there that kind of object to this is that they're afraid that with the zoning of this, that all of a sudden tattoo parlors can move in next to any other business. And I think that y'all have the sense, the common sense. I'm sure at this point you can't put a strip club next to a church or within a certain allowable distance of a school. And so I think that with that planning, if there is a rezoning that could easily fit a program like this, a facility like this, they're not going to have billboards up, they're not going to draw attention to the location, so no one will really know that it's there unless they're already in that area. My mother had a stroke. I had to put her in a nursing home, and it's really hard and difficult. We've seen the news reports of how people are misused and abused in nursing homes. I, without a doubt, know that that would never happen in one of their facilities because they're quality individuals, and I would just ask that maybe look at zoning it to where it would be allowable and keep the riffraff out that people are concerned with. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll start in on the other side. Leon Pavlock. Where'd Mr. Pavlock go? Passed. Joseph Mule.
I'll take his place.
Come on.
Well, I'm Joseph Ewing, but we were concerned about another zoning that I think is going to be later on today.
All right, which one is it?
The zoning between South Craven and Echo, they own a piece of property there, our family does.
Okay. Is that the same that Mr. Pavlock wants to talk about? Huh?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, you got 7A on there, that's why I asked, so. Jodine Passmore. So which one is he talking about? Let's see. He's talking about 2. Okay. Keep those separate.
Maybe it'll be refreshing to hear somebody from Missouri City for a change.
Just state name and address for us.
I'm Jodine Passmore. I live at 919 Circle Bend Drive in Missouri City and in Craven Village. And I've lived there for 44 and a half years. Tonight I speak to you on behalf of all the residents of the Craven Village subdivision. Craven Village is a peaceful and safe subdivision in Missouri City and has been so for over 45 years, and we'd like to keep it that way. We're very, very concerned about the suggestion of rezoning the single-family residence at 1405 Adams Street to a 16-bed assisted living facility. I shared this proposal with a friend of mine who is employed in the healthcare industry as an EMT, and he had similar concerns. For instance, regarding parking, where would the following vehicles park? Ambulances and fire trucks that respond together in an emergency situation, coroner's hearse and medical examiner's vehicles, cars of visitors for 16 guests, employee parking, food service delivery trucks, health service trucks with oxygen tanks and medical supplies, equipment, and so forth. Where will all these cars and vehicles be placed? Right now, I don't know how familiar you are with Adams, but traveling down Adams Street can be a challenge in itself. Each city council member should travel down Adams to see for yourselves what we're talking about. Adams is not very wide and barely allows 2 cars to pass each other with drainage ditches on each side of the road. Adding to this facility would definitely create major safety issues and blocked subdivision entrance and exit when emergency vehicles are parked on Adams Street. Our Missouri City Statement of Ordinance Regulations states, zoning establishes minimum standards for the use of land and promotes the health, safety, and general welfare of the city and its residences. That's exactly what we want to continue to do in our Craven Village subdivision. We've surveyed residents across our 100-plus homes in Craven Village, and everyone, no exceptions, is against the suggested rezoning of the home at 1405 Adams Street. Craven Village homeowners are concerned about jeopardizing their home values, safety in our community, noise increased by the highly increased traffic, overall negative impact on our very peaceful and safe residential subdivision. And I'm sure everybody here wants the same thing for their homes. Therefore, we respectfully ask the City Council to vote down the rezoning request for a 16-bed assisted living facility at 1405 Adams Street.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Passmore. Right on time. Joe, is it Noski?
Yes.
Come on. Doing pretty good with the name so far.
I'm Joe Noski. I'm at next door at 1403 Adams Street. I apologize for the laptop. I ran out of ink right at the last minute. I'd like to say that, you know, I've met the owners of the subject property. I think they're good people, and I can appreciate what they're trying to do. I think that, you know, it's definitely a needed thing, but I don't believe this is something that's needed in our neighborhood. I believe our neighborhood, we're not surrounded or dotted with fourplexes or duplexes or apartment buildings or any other kind of business. You know, we're a community of single-family homes, and it's also zoned as single-family homes. Even if this home doesn't have the appearance, it still has multiple residents living there. And there was a comment made that it'd be quiet and there's no disruption, but a few months ago, an ambulance showed up, lights flashing. It was late at night. I didn't get much sleep at all. Right through the blinds, I'm awake by this. It affects my quality of life in that area. You know, I think one thing that's important to note too that came out in the Zoning Commission's hearings was that the owners mentioned that they do not live at the property and they purchased the property with the intent to use it as a business, even though we're a single-family, residential-only zoned area. So, you know, I think that's interesting to note. One of the issues that I have too, that it doesn't fit in the neighborhood, that was also echoed by the Planning Commission. You know, they understood what they were trying to do. They said that they just didn't feel it fitted in the area, that there are other properties in Missouri City that are zoned for this type of facility, and they were encouraged to do that, and then I think that's what I would support them to do. One of the things that I wanted to bring up, sorry, just a second here, was we've talked about the parking, and we talked about the emergency vehicles being in the area, but there's nothing when I went through the packet that they supplied addressing waste, because one of the things they did mention in their application that they'd be taking care of hospice patients. Hospice patients that are, you know, bedridden, there's lots of medical and chemical hazardous things that can be going on, needles, and all this, I guess, is going to be placed at the curb because there is no designation for a dumpster. There's nothing that says anything about a dumpster being supplied.
Let him speak. Yeah.
Well, there's nothing in the packet that says anything about a dumpster being provided for any kind of waste disposal, and it's in there. So, in addition, the Zoning Commission found that the location is not large enough to actually meet many of the code requirements, such as the screening vegetation, because of the location of the house and the ditch that's next to Adams Street. You know, and I just think that it's a great idea. I think it's just a poor location, and I think it disrupts the feel of the neighborhood. You know, people are attracted to the neighborhood because of the single-family homes, and families. It's a very lucrative market. One of the things I would like to bring up too.
3 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, anyway, I would like to ask that you to consider and support the Planning Commission's recommendation not to pass this ordinance.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Ernest Terrell.
I'm Ernie Terrell. I live at 703 Bull Lane in Missouri City, also a resident. What I brought before you really quickly is a 174-page document. This document was written by everybody in this room. This is what we need to go by. I can read part of it to you. It's called the purpose of this document. If you'd like me to read it, I'd be glad to read it for you. It's one paragraph. You probably have read it yourself already. You should know what's in it, because this lays out a lot of the things that this city is built on. That's why people move here. That's exactly what I told my wife when we moved here, bought property here in 1996. I want to be in an R1 rated area. I don't like living in Houston. These people are, I don't know them. None of them so far have lived here with us. They don't know Adams Street. That can be a dangerous street at times. You know, we've gone through this before. Oh, yeah. When that train runs over somebody and kills somebody just here a few months ago, you know what the traffic was like around my house? There's 2,000 or 3,000 cars. At one time, the last time we ran a vehicle check through, there's 2,400 cars a day going down Bull Lane in front of my house. The new divider things has helped tremendously. It really has.
Not the cut through it used to be, is it?
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But still, if something happens at that intersection, that's a major intersection, and we're the only bypass to get out of there.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're going to be backed up all the way to City Hall, if not further. So I'm asking you today to really look at this, what everybody committed to a long time ago, 174 pages worth. I read it. Please look at this carefully, carefully, carefully. We just don't really want this in our neighborhood.
Thank you, sir. Jermaine Benson.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm Jermaine Benson. My husband is, I have been married to for 65 years, is Kenneth Benson. We've lived in Craven Village for 43 years. This is a very pleasant, quiet community. Your neighbors are close by, that if you need them for help, they're there. We want you to keep business out of our community, both now and any time at all times in the future. This includes any rezoning of any property within Craven Village. I turned over 100 names and addresses to this young lady right here of neighbors that I walked around to the doors getting their signatures. They're, as you can see them in the back, they're accordant with me or they wouldn't be here. Please do not allow this in our community. We like it like it is. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Harold Kramer.
I'm number 2 on that list right there.
Sir?
My name's Cecil Denley. I'm on that list, number 2.
Well, I don't have a yellow sheet for you.
Well, I've been living in Craven Village longer than any of these people are alive.
All right, but wait a minute. Hold up.
Maybe I got some reason to speak.
All right, hold on just a minute. We got to state your name and address.
Cecil Denley, 910 Circle Bend.
All right.
Missouri City.
Fill out one of these before you leave tonight.
Okay, I'll come right there in a minute and do it. I want to ask all of you here this evening, have you ever been through a hurricane on this street that we're talking about? I have seen water up to the middle of the house where they're going to put those old people, up to the center of that house in a hurricane. And nothing's changed in that period of time since the hurricane. There's been no new ditches. I'm not running down what the Missouri City has done. I'm saying this is something that is adding trouble to an area that doesn't need it, don't have to have it. It shouldn't be coming there.
Thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Kramer. By the way, have we seen that list of the 100 names?
The map that was included are all of the properties that are represented.
But was there a list of 100 people who signed a list?
We have a PDF of 67 protest letters.
Okay.
So-
Okay. Yes, sir, Mr. Kramer.
Mayor
Name
and
and
members of the
address.
City Council, I am Errol Kramer. I live at 942 Circle Bend Drive, Craven Village, Missouri City. Please don't cut me as part of this time, but on the scene up here, if you follow Adams in, Craven Village is up there in the upper right-hand corner.
Yes, sir.
My family and I moved here in the early, mid-'70s, so we've been there about 40 years. Other residents have been there a lot longer. We chose the area because it was an older residence. It was quiet, it was stable, and was well-developed and maintained. The concern we had was the streets in and out of the area. They were a minimum. There was Adams Street, off of Tex Parkway, and then 5th Street and Bow Lane to 90A. We later observed these streets as a popular cut-through for traffic from southern subdivisions to 90. Congestion does occur. Our subdivision has continued to grow due to its attractiveness to newcomers. My family and many other residents are very concerned about the rezoning for business purposes, as it considerably affects both groups with inconveniences and safety issues. The business described will introduce new Adams Street safety issues. There will be 24-hour employees there. There will be guests to visit patients. There will be medical care team visitations, emergency vehicles as necessary, and vehicles required to deliver daily services like food, equipment, and maintenance. This includes truck traffic. Because of road and traffic conditions, the city has already posted traffic signage on Adams, no through trucks with load limitations. I've discussed this issue with other people outside the subdivision, and they would not recommend rezoning approval. The local motor carrier has already noticed an increase in obstructions along the route on Adams. A respected retired business associate I have in Quail Valley says he would reject the idea for safety reasons. We acknowledge that this is a noble effort, but when it affects the safety in the life of many family homes in an older, stable, quiet subdivision, we suggest additional considerations are appropriate. The most important issue in a new business venture are location, location, location. We believe the location should be given more study to discover a location more suitable. There is a local publication, community impact, that might be able to contribute to the insight of other considerations. Missouri City develops plans that have been on target for neighborhood wellness. I recall a request for a used car sales lot on Bow Lane at 98. It was rejected. We, the residents of Craven Village, respectfully request City Council to consider the same philosophy with this request and deny rezoning for the numerous safety issues that will be created.
Thank you, sir. Benton Finch. Made you come from the back room, didn't we?
Well, I never heard so many people from so many faraway places. I'm Benton Finch, 503 Bull Lane, Missouri City. In 1972, I put a sign up in front of my service station at Cartwright and 1092 advertising specials. Y'all yanked it because I didn't pull a permit. That's my bad. Now we have a place that already has inhabitants, hasn't been approved yet. They have a driveway that goes between them and the house next to them that is shared. They have to come up and go different ways. They have a water system that is for residential. I'll talk to Mr. Mathern about that. He has some very interesting ideas. Well, I don't know about the electricity, but you do know that with this kind of care facility, there's going to be a great deal of electricity used, and I'm sure that's not right. And I mean, I'm 69 years old. I may be looking for a place like this in a couple of years. But I would hope that I would find a place that would adhere to the rules. Not just start doing your thing before you find out and say, oh, I didn't know, or whatever their excuses are. That gives me a little angst. What next? And as the last meeting we had here with the Planning Commission, they said it was not a fit. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. And I admonish you folks to look at this hard and fast and have a little teeth like you did in '72 for an old boy that was trying to make a little money with a sign. Thank you.
Thank you. Yolanda Hughes. Do I have Yolanda Hughes? Gave up and left, I guess. I guess it's Ann Emanuel. Did I get it right?
Annette.
Annette. Okay, I didn't see the TTE. How you got it?
Good afternoon. My name is Annette Emanuel Simmons. I reside at 1126 Mesa Verde Drive in Cravens Village. I'm a citizen of Craven Village. I stand before you again, as we did last month, and all of the issues that we were concerned about, we're still concerned about those same issues. We have no doubt, and I say we because as a community, I have to canvass that area, and there is no one in the community that is in favor of this. But however, everyone has stated that we have no doubt that this business is good for the citizens that it serves. We don't question that. My dad too was an elderly man that needed care. He died in February. And I know from experience of these facilities, several of them met my standards, a lot of them didn't. And they were, facilities such as this in homes. But I do know also that by my dad being an elderly patient, that he had lots of caretakers. He had lots of visitors. He had lots of people taking care of him. So as far as traffic in this area, I'm sure that 16 patients will require a lot of care. The other issue that I have is that, as I stated in the last meeting, that Cravens Village has two major thoroughfares. That's Adam and that's Bull. In the morning, traffic is at its max because people use those streets to bypass Texas Parkway. They use those streets in the evening to bypass Texas Parkway. So the two thoroughfares that we have are already congested. The issue that we have with rezoning is the possibility that there may be influxes of other businesses such as this, or other businesses that are still not a part of the climate of this community. That is a major concern for every citizen in the neighborhood. So I implore the council, every one of you that is sitting before us, that you are here sitting in these seats because a majority of the votes of the citizens of Missouri City has voted for you. We thought that you would be ideal for us to represent us, and we're asking as a citizen of Craven Village that you take that a step further and represent us as far as this rezoning is concerned. The citizens have spoken, and as I stated, everyone in the neighborhood, no one has voted in favor of this. We don't doubt, we don't question that this is going to be a quality facility. They've stated it. They have several people that have come forward for them that does not live in Missouri City, that have not voted in Missouri City, that don't own property in Missouri City. So we have very, very long list of concerns for this business, and we're not here to state that we don't think that it would be a business that can serve the clients that it's can serve. We just don't want the rezoning to happen in Craven Village.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, I have two others that I need to ask to see if they're wanting to speak on this zoning issue or another one. Is Mr. Herron here? Mr. Edward Herron had signed up to speak. I don't know if this was the item. And then I have Mr. Asim Qureshi. Are either of those people here? Quresh? I don't see, if they're here, I don't see them, so. All right, that's everyone that I had that had turned in a yellow piece of paper that wanted to speak, so.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we close the public hearing.
All right, there's a motion to close the public. Do what?
Too late, Don. We got a motion on the floor.
She declined.
Yes, we got, there's a motion to close the public hearing.
Joe Stewart is still on.
Do what?
When you calling me up, I'm sorry.
She declined.
She passed. I'm not going back the second time. She passed when it was asked before. I wrote it down. She passed.
He passed to speak at a later date.
Oh, okay. All right, you can come up.
I wouldn't have let us speak. He to speak at a later date. She can't do that. She can speak then and don't speak at all. That's the way it's done. If she chooses not to when she had a chance to, she made a choice. That's the way it's done, Chris. And this has nothing to do with the Monica kid. This is about something about the use.
Huh? So, who is Joe Stewart?
I'm Joe Stewart.
Okay, you're the one that signed up to speak.
Yes, I am the one that signed up to speak.
Okay, speak.
Again,
And
my name is
state your
Joe
name and
Stewart.
address.
My name is Joe Stewart. My current address is 6602 Rocker Gate, Missouri City, Texas, and I am the property owner at 1405 Adams Street. The reason why I have this gentleman here is because he's one of my residents, and I have his daughter with me because I really wanted them to make a statement for me. I didn't really want to take up my time because I know that he needs to say something. You know, everybody has actually spoken for our facility and what we have to offer, and I thought it would be come off very well from someone that actually resides at the facility.
You got 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
If it's okay with the board, I'd speak for my father.
Okay, I thought he
My
was
name is
going to speak.
Denitria Mont Lewis. I live at 2810 Straight Elm in Fresno. I've heard a lot of the people here discussing about the facility itself coming in the community. When I tell you my father is a retired firefighter with the city of Houston, he was in a nursing home, in and out of several nursing homes here in the city, as well here in Missouri City and Sugar Land. He did not receive anywhere near the level of care that I've seen with Miss Jo, her daughter, her son, her husband. I feel that I could leave and go from here to China and not be concerned at all about my father. I dropped my dad off on a Monday or Tuesday afternoon, getting him out of a nursing home. My dad was so depressed, he didn't talk much, he didn't speak much. Whenever he did say something, I want to go. He's been at Miss Jo's almost 4 months now. Not once have I heard him say he's ready to go. He comes to my house and says he's ready to go home, which is Miss Jo's.
So he's one of the residents there now?
He is.
Okay.
I looked for several personal care homes in the city of Missouri City because I wanted him close to my home. Not one for 2 months met the standards of care that I've seen, the way her property looks. There were some I would not even put my worst enemy in. There are some I didn't even stop my car to even get out and inspect. I understand the concerns that these people have, but like everyone has said that has spoken on Ms. Jo's behalf, we come, we stay for an hour, maybe 30 minutes, we're gone. There's not a lot of traffic. This gentleman was concerned about the medical waste, and I hate to be blunt like this, where do you put your child's dirty diapers? In the trash. None of these people are bleeding or have open wounds or anything like that. Ms. Jo and her staff take care of their patients like they take care of their family, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you, ma'am.
Shall we close the public hearing?
All right, there's been a motion by Councilman White. Is there a second to close the public hearing? All right, all those in favor of closing the public hearing? Motion carries. Yes, sir. Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, for the discussion of, purpose of discussion, I move that we adopt the ordinance on first reading.
Okay, been a motion.
And I second.
All right,
Now,
been a motion and a second. Now we'll discuss.
I don't want the people from Craven Village to get nervous because I did that, but we have to have a motion in
They
order
probably hadn't heard you. You got to speak in that mic.
We have to have a motion in order to take action. Let me take you on a little tour in history that some of you may even forgot about. But I was here in 1981 when we voted in the zoning ordinance. council did not vote in the zoning ordinance. The citizens of Missouri City. Some of you people right there from Cravens Village voted that Missouri City would have a zoning ordinance. This whole issue is not about traffic. This issue is about, do we start zoning residential property into business property? Do we tell the people in Hunters Glen, Quail Valley, First Colony, Brightwater, and other, don't worry about it, we'll just zone that house and they can have a business there, because that's what we're talking about. It has nothing to do with the quality of care that's provided by these services. Now, I am retired from healthcare. I work for one of the largest healthcare facilities, so I understand healthcare, and I understand this is not an issue about what these people do and how they take care of their patient. This is issues about how the land is to be used. This is a land use issue. The citizens of Missouri City spoke in 1981 that they wanted this property to be residential. The only piece of property on Adams that is not residential is at the corner of Adams and Fifth. And if you remember, that business already existed when we passed the zoning ordinance. Therefore, we could not take that away from them. And that's why that property is zoned a business, okay? I am not going to vote for this. I am not going to send a message to anybody else in the Missouri City that if somebody want to come in and change a residential use to a business, that I'm going to vote for it. I'm going to do what the citizens told me to do in 1981.
Okay, other discussion?
Well, let me say, I visited the facility, and I was truly amazed with the work that they had done on the house, both exterior and interior. You know, their motives are great, you know, and, you know, there is a need for that type of care. But I guess I fall in with Jerry is that, you know, have a zoning ordinance, and I'm afraid that if we do something like this, that what we're going to do is give opportunity and set a precedent for other types of businesses wanting to get into a residential area. So, yeah, I'm going to have to say that again. I just can't bring myself to approve the rezoning.
Mayor, for discussion purposes, Jennifer, I do have two questions for you. One is, do we know how many homes in this neighborhood?
In this particular neighborhood? What's included in the staff report are licensed facilities, so anything that's been licensed by DADS. And I actually have a map.
No, I'm not talking about license. I'm talking about residential neighborhood.
How many houses? I don't have a total housing count off the top of my
I
head.
did hear that the homeowners association was not for it. Is that something that you got? Or did you hear from anyone from homeowners association?
As far as I know, there's not a formal homeowners association.
But that's
However,
based on the residents'
Right.
input that you got
Right.
back. That's what it was.
87.
It's 87.
Yeah, first of all, I mean, I do want to recognize the firefighter that was up here, retired. Kudos to him for getting up here to come and make that point. Thank you for your service. And I don't think cozy living is not a bad place. I'm sure cozy living is everything and more what the presentation that you had done. I don't doubt that. And I don't doubt the standard of care that you all provide either. Unfortunately, I did not get a chance to visit the place. I was out of town. But some of my concerns that are coming to when I hear this conversations of the residents speaking for and speaking against, it went into sort of a debate of assisted living versus nursing home. And I think we missed the point. The point is, it's not an assisted living versus nursing home. assisted living is one thing, and nursing homes are another thing. Both has its ups and downs, and there's no doubt about it. Myself, just like being Councilmember White, being in the healthcare industry, and having had the opportunity to, first of all, I'm sure Councilmember would agree, thank you to all the nurses for all you do every day and each and every day, especially for the patients in cozy living as well as everywhere else. The issue here, it's about being in the residence, having this type of a facility. That includes whether it's in 10 or 16 homes, residents that occupies this place. There were some good conversations that came back and forth about parking, and someone had talked about the disposal of syringes and all of that, what have you. In my own district, I can't speak for the district that this is in my own district, in District C, that we have had independent buildings, which means not in residential neighborhood, had their own separate buildings, withstanding, had sort of assisted living / nursing home care activities came forward, which at that time in that district had issues and we had voted down. There has been numerous numbers of group homes in other neighborhoods throughout Missouri City, as well as home health that takes place in not just in this particular area, but throughout Missouri City. As we identify these things, that we are looking at each of these issues as a problem. So to start an assisted living, and I know the concept is good, but I too, along with Councilmember Emery as well as Councilmember Wyatt, am not in supportive of this, and I want y'all to understand that if we do this for one neighborhood and in one area, that we're going to have this come back to us in each of the area. It may start with 8 or 6, whatever it is, and it gets into another throughout spread of Missouri City in a residential neighborhood. People, and I know some folks spoke here. I did note Cypress and even San Antonio. I appreciate everyone for coming out here, but the residents in Missouri City that bought the homes here bought the home to be part of that residential neighborhood. Now, yet we love the commercial. We definitely want the retail, but not in residential neighborhoods. So I hope that you walk away from this understanding that this is not against cozy living. This is against the concept that in residential neighborhood are to be for residents and commercial districts should be for commercial. Thank you.
Jennifer, I had another question for you. The facility is able to operate regardless as long as they don't go over 6 people due to state law, correct?
Classifying as a single family, residential.
So if at the end, the only reason they're going through the rezoning is because they're going over that 6.
And the proposed number.
Okay. And Mr. Stewart has agreed to reduce that down to 8 to 10 people, 10 max. Initially, I know it was 16, but he agreed to go down to 8 to 10 people.
Right. That is what stated.
Okay.
Was stated earlier.
So he could, whether it passes or not tonight, he can still operate if it doesn't pass, he could still operate as long as he does not exceed 6 people.
As a single family home.
Okay.
And I think that's a very good point that the people need to know.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted them to know that he could still operate.
But the other side to that is it doesn't change the residential character of the zoning, which is really important because if you change the zoning, then it creates other issues related to the area. But yeah, they can operate.
Yeah,
And
I know. I just wanted her to let everybody know.
I'm glad you.
No, and I am too, because I know Jennifer was about to give a number a while ago, and I see some concerned citizens out there. We've dealt with this for a long time. The federal government and the state of Texas, I don't care what your deed restrictions say, I don't care what our zoning say, they're trumped by the federal government and the state. That's why we have, and I was going to ask you, how many group homes do we have in Missouri City that we're aware of?
That are licensed.
That are licensed, that we can at least make them get licensed.
We have, and check this right before the meeting, we have 11 facilities. There are some that have Missouri City mailing addresses, but we have 11 facilities within the city limits that are licensed through
Just like this one.
the department.
Can
just
be.
like this one.
But they're in Quail Valley, they're all over the city. And there is nothing that we can do about them except inspect them, make sure that they comply with the fire code and the safety codes, and that the state inspects them. I don't think any of us disagree up here that, and I think I probably got in trouble once before for saying that I'd rather have my mother and dad in a in a home environment than I would in one of the others. But anyway, I think it's beside the point here. We're already dealing with an issue that a lot of people are not comfortable with. If you live beside one of these, you would not feel comfortable. I can't take questions, ma'am. We're past that point. But if you were in that neighborhood and you lived next door to it, you would be concerned. And I know of one in my own neighborhood that has some serious concerns. And I think someone mentioned earlier the thing that upset more people than anything was the number of times that the ambulances, the fire trucks, all of those were in their driveways and they couldn't sleep. And that's happened in these group homes because a lot of these people are there because they cannot care for themselves. And I'm particularly deaf that our EMTs and fire department can respond to their needs. But, I agree with what everybody said. We've got to draw the line somewhere.
Simply doing what the people told us to do.
And do what the people told us to do. That's right. So, and I apologize you can't speak, but we're already past that point. Are there any other comments? Been a long, and I appreciate everybody making the comments. It's important for us as a council to understand both sides of an issue. And there are always two sides to an issue. We have to make the difficult decision of deciding which one of those issues is in the best interest of the people who elected us. So I'll ask at this time, there was a motion and a second that we vote. All those in favor?
Motion to adopt.
Huh?
There was a request to clarify
Right.
the motion. It is a motion to
Right.
adopt.
There was a motion and a second to grant the specific use permit.
Correct.
Right. And I would ask for a vote. All those in favor? All opposed? Motion fails. Now we can probably get back to the regulated fire code limit. Unless you all just want to stick around and hear the rest of a boring meeting.
I'm wondering if we should do or not. They took out, no, so they took these two items out, 6 and 7A out, and 1 out of 2. Should we just stay here and then come back to the presentations after? No. And one to which at least a couple people want to say something. But, oh, okay, that was the motion, then yeah, let's stay with this. No, trust me, no, Maria and I aren't asking that we go back. We're not making that request. We're just following protocol.
That's what I took it to be.
Well, then if you took it to be that, then hey, who are we to argue against the law? And an imaginary motion was out there for long. I was wondering where you were getting that from. I was thinking,
Had there ever been an official announcement of the new assistant police chief other than the agenda?
An official announcement?
Yeah.
Like a press
like
release?
To us?
Just had it tonight.
That's the wrong time to do it. You bet. We'd like to know about it. I got people going, who is it?
I just assumed that we had already told you. I'm sorry.
Oh,
How are you doing?
I didn't even know.
Oh, yeah, I had made that assumption because it was like a few weeks ago that the decision was made, and now it's my apologies.
No, they don't talk about things like they should.
No, I should have passed that on to you, and I didn't.
I found out from a magazine.
Huh?
I found out from the magazine.
From the magazine, yeah, that's right. His picture comes up in the ups. Yeah.
No, I missed it entirely. I didn't tell him the tidbits. I didn't pass it on. I know, but I forgot that one entirely. I don't know. It's,
So good.
well, I just.
Not at all.
Go ahead.
Huh? Is there a recess?
We'll talk to him.
No.
Yeah. Randy.
No.
Was that?
I don't think it's a formal recess. I was saying, are we in recess or what?
But for me, I don't care whether
This will be.
No, we needed.
This will be those missing 5 minutes in the minutes.
I couldn't tell whether I liked Joe's profile picture or his giraffe pictures.
Oh, I have. What is this on like his Facebook or something?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen. We're not friends. So.
Oh, okay. You're not friends?
Oh, meetings. You got any other notebooks around you?
Huh?
Want a notebook?
Yes, you see your pen was too fat.
It'd have been 5 if Don was here because he wasn't going to. Well, you knew that. Pass those down to. I tried to keep them in the order in which they spoke. I numbered them up at the top. So. Ooh.
And Mr. Mayor, I assume that we're staying with the public hearings and just continue moving.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll bring
Yes,
those
sir.
reports.
We're on 7A2.
Perfect.
An ordinance of the City of Missouri City, Texas, changing the zoning classification of approximately 119.87 acres of land from LC3 Retail District in part, I Industrial District in part, and R5 Townhome Residential District in part to PD Plan Development District, describing said 119.87 acres of land, regulating and restricting the development and use of property within such plan development district, referencing a site plan, providing for certain construction according to said plan, amending the zoning district map of the City of Missouri City, providing for an amendment to the comprehensive plan, providing for repeal, providing a penalty, providing for severability, and containing other provisions relating to the subject.
Yes, ma'am.
All righty. This is a proposal to rezone about 119 acres to a planned development district. And the location is at the intersection of Beltway 8 and Highway 90, right there at the city limits. The frontage along Beltway 8 is within the city of Houston, and that's part of the challenges of developing this site, as council is fully aware of. There are pipelines that cross this property. There are drainage easements and other utility easements that make it a challenge to develop. Trammell Crow, the developer of Lakeview Business Park at Buffalo Run, is looking to acquire this site and create another industrial business park at this location. They are naming the business park Park 890, and that is the official unveiling of the name, creative name for that location, but that is what they would call this business park. There's a very conceptual layout of how they would develop the site into office or industrial warehouse facilities, again, similar to what was done in the Lakeview Business Park. The development that they propose is pretty much what they did at Lakeview Business Park, and so what we did and what they proposed were the exact same regulations that were contained in Plan Development District Number 65, which is the Lakeview Business Park PD. And the proposal before you includes pretty much identical regulations, with the exception of some of the site-specific items that were particular to the Lakeview Park and its proximity to Hunters Park residential subdivision and residential subdivisions right there on the perimeter of Lakeview Business Park. So these deviations or these requests are a little bit different, just considering the location of this proposed park.
Okay.
And I'm going to go very quickly through use regulations proposed are a combination of LC3 and industrial warehouse uses, the same restriction on not allowing SOBs or auto repair shops within this PD. Height and area recommendations would be the industrial district standard with no height limit due to the location of the business park. And that would apply to commercial uses as well as industrial uses, is the recommendation. Architectural standards, again, pretty much following what was done in Lakeview Business Park, and what we are proposing are some of the items that we learned from looking at designs that were proposed within Lakeview Business Park and looking at ways that we can allow for flexibility and design creativity for some of the industrial park users. And so looking at making a proposal to allow for the use of architectural decorative metal panels. This would be different from a full metal wall panel for a side of a building that might be slated for expansion, or a full wall of metal. This would be more decorative, and there's images showing down there and how Riches applied it to their building design. And so we're looking at incorporating that use regulation within this PD. Landscaping requirements, the comprehensive plan and the land use plan for this particular location has it marked as a business park. And part of the character designations that are designed for the business park for that land use character include focusing on the perimeter of developments and enhancing the perimeter of developments. This is an ideal site to do that, pushing out landscaping, pushing out buffering, pushing out those screening areas along the perimeter of the site, as opposed to looking at each individual reserve or tract separately. And so the recommendations before you have that in mind, providing a 30-foot transitional buffer along both Highway 90A and also along Cravens. The recommendation is to allow black chain link, but only to what we would view as the rear of the property, which would be down the HLMP easement to the rear. Planning and zoning did recommend to allow the use of black chain link fencing along Cravens, but behind the transitional buffer. So you would have a combination of allowing the developer to secure the property on that side, but the visual along Cravens, for any travelers along Cravens, would still be that green buffer yard, including trees, canopy trees, and shrubs. And so this is just kind of a very quick depiction of what that would look like, pushing out the green areas along the public streets. There would be two streets that connected and provided access through the site, a street connecting from the Beltway to Cravens, and a street connecting from 90 into the interior public street. And so again, the focus of these recommendations is to push the screening, push the greenscape areas out to the perimeter of these sites, so it's more viewable to the public. One clarification I do want to make is that different from the Lakeview Park is we are defining what is considered an oversized trash collection bin, and essentially anything over 16 cubic yards, which would be your standard 2 of your standard size trash dumpsters side by side. So in terms of a visual for that size, but we are defining that for this ordinance so that there's clarity as to what that means.
Okay.
And staff, also included in your packet is a side-by-side guide of what the Lakeview regulations are and what this proposal was, staff's recommendation, and planning and zoning. Planning and zoning pretty much supported all of staff's recommendation with the exception of the black chain link fencing along Cravens, and the recommendation that I just spoke of, putting the fence behind the transitional buffer, was the what planning and zoning and the applicant came to.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Now, I'm going to go back. Ms. Pavlock. So Ms. Pavlock still here. Is this the item you want to speak on?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but not sure, huh?
Well,
Yes.
I really have more questions than anything. Leon Pavlock, 15407 Moreau Road, Guy, Texas. I'm all in favor of this. I think it would be good for Missouri City. That particular area has been basically dead for years.
Yeah.
And I just think it would be a good move.
Well, we're excited about it. We've seen what, and I know you have, Ms. Pavlock, you've seen what Trammell Crow's done at Lakeview Business Park, and they're a first-class organization. So whatever they do over there, I mean, they've been so successful that they're out of land. And we're going to try to work with the city of Houston to get that little piece so that we've got the Beltway.
Can I ask one
Right.
question?
Sure you can.
Will Cravens Road, will anything be done to it?
Well, Scott can address that. Good question.
We're currently working with the developer for improvements on Cravens Road. Their first phase of access will probably come off of the Beltway side, and this would be closer to the second phase of their project where Cravens would be improved.
As it's developed in.
As it's
internal.
developed. Our current concept would be to turn Cravens to a 3-lane roadway like we did in front of Benny Keith on the north side of Highway 90, down to the last entrance on the map, which is about 3/4 of the way down Cravens Road.
So it would not go all the way to the drainage?
At this time, the 3-lane section is what we're talking about to that last entrance. There is a possibility with future development down there, particularly with the utility district wastewater plant, that some other improvements would be made, but nothing as part of this project.
You got it. Mr. Muley.
Well, we're together.
You're together?
Yeah.
You got any questions? Huh? I know. You got any questions?
Yes, sir.
Better known as Pavlock Farms. Y'all know where Pavlock Farms are, don't you?
My name's Joseph Muley. I live in East Bernard, Texas. 49.
That's all right. We had all these other people here from San Antonio and everywhere else, so.
But our family's been, we have a piece of property over there close to where all this is happening, and that's kind of our concern. Like South Craven, will that road just always be a dead end, or will that eventually go back to Beltway 8, or? I know this is kind of, I don't know if it's a proper question.
No, that's okay. That's what we're here for.
I can't answer definitively that it would always be a dead end, but it's not on the city's current major thoroughfare to extend that to the south past the ditch. There is a possibility at one point in the future, if it makes sense, council may choose to do that. But at this time, the city's major thoroughfare plan does not have it extending past the ditch on the south side.
So this road here, it's going to be on their property, not on actually South Craven, right?
It would be on South Cravens, in the South Cravens right of way, yes, in the
Okay,
current
right of way.
And this is going to come back to Beltway 8? That's what you're saying?
No, that is not actually, the road that in green shown on the bottom of this map is not actually a road planned at this time.
Oh, okay.
But they would have access to South Cravens through interior roads.
I hear you. Well, I'm glad to see something's happening down there.
It's all, all that depends on the future development. There's so much stuff that could go on in there, so that's just one piece of property, so. We're glad you're here to support it. Any other questions?
I have
Yes.
several, but I don't
Okay.
know if we're gonna, is anybody else going to speak?
No. You want to close the public hearing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion to close public.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Okay. Now, you want to make a motion to approve the item
Well, I have questions.
for discussion? Well, you can approve it. You can make a motion to approve it, and then we can second it, and then you can discuss it. Because you need to open it for discussion purposes.
Can I just open it for discussion purposes?
There needs to be a
No,
motion.
needs to be a motion, dear.
Before
I'm telling you.
Okay, motion.
All right, there you go. Now you can. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, now you can talk all you want to. Oh, we can vote. There was voted, and then, all right. Now ask your questions.
Jennifer, this is going to be,
That was a motion to adopt and second, so I don't think.
The vote was to close the public hearing, is that what you just did?
No, we've already
That,
done
and then it was,
that.
and then this was
Yeah.
a motion to adopt the
I just don't know
ordinance,
what
so
he
there
just had
doesn't
to
need to
vote
be a
on.
vote for that.
Right.
But we didn't
Yeah.
vote before she had her answer
No,
or question.
that's right. She's
Okay.
gonna ask her question, that's what I said. All she did was make the motion and there was a second. We hadn't voted on it yet.
this is going to be very similar to Lakeview. I know not the same, but similar. And I don't know, either you or staff can answer this question. Was the developer ever asked about any type of retail that was going to, or possibility of retail being put out there? And the reason why I'm asking is because I am constantly sent emails, getting phone calls from my constituents in reference to there's absolutely nothing in northern part of Missouri City other than warehouses. And this is ideal, especially with frontage road, to put retail and that type of thing along at least the frontage road. I mean, did the developer refuse to do that? I know I've talked to Ed about it, not so much you, Jennifer, so I don't know whoever wants to.
We did ask the developer if the potential is there for retail, and being one of where optional incentives we put on that. For them, as they looked at the property, they saw it not as warehouses, but like similar to as far as Lakeview Business Park. They did not see the opportunity there to have retail as a component of that. For them, it made sense as a light industrial business park to utilize that full property for that purpose. That retail just, it was, well, as with that whole corner there, retail wasn't, they saw as something, at least at that location, that they were going to be able to be viable.
But we have discussed retail for a transit center on the other side of 90A at Cravens, once we hopefully get the commuter rail out there, that would turn into a transit center that would have retail.
The possibility still
mixed
exists
use.
for that, for Ted Miller's property, which
Yes.
is, he does not currently have anybody that's interested in the parts that you're discussing.
Right.
But keeping that thought in mind, though, where as development comes, a lot of time it creates other development.
Correct.
And back to Yolanda's point is that, and if somebody does come and we could encourage them to do some retail, just make sure that it's in Missouri City, not on the Houston side.
We gotta get that Houston piece anyway, but she's right. I mean, there's no places to eat over there.
But we do need to keep that in
Those
mind.
people go into Stafford and Houston, out of Lakeview and out of.
I understand.
There's no place for them to
And when
eat.
developers come in, we routinely ask for them to consider retail first, but it's their dollars.
Oh, I know.
So it's one of which, we're not gonna be building the location. That's gonna be on the developer.
Retail's tough business right now. Yeah. Especially along the Beltway. People don't stop a whole lot. So. Out at 80 miles an hour.
You know, I have a question regarding that ad. It does go back to those conversations that we had a while back about Fort Bend Toll Road and Highway 6, about apartments. The question that I had asked, I'm not trying to engage in a conversation about apartments here, but the conversation that I had asked was when we have only a few segments of properties that are left in the city, throughout our city, whatever district it is, that is a golden opportunity for a retail or something of that type of nature. Yet we don't have, I mean, this is something to think about, based on her conversation. Yes, your answer to that was, we're not going to tell the developer what to put in there. But yet, we needed to go back and have those conversations along with Joe Esch. And in reconfirming these areas to have some type of a plan in place or zoning in place so that all of this are gone. And the only thing what the mayor was talking about was the transit. That's pretty much it, if it comes.
And if you look at your comprehensive plan, you've already marked this as industrial. What you're doing tonight is actually taking from industrial and doing the planned development district. So it's already designed, the intention when the council and staff looked at this 5 years ago was to have this as an industrial location. So this matches what you have on the comprehensive plan. That's the reason we're not asking you to amend your comprehensive plan tonight.
But the industrial designation does not limit retail,
Oh,
does
no.
not limit
No,
to
it's
not
wide
have
open. It
retail.
allows it.
Okay, it allows it to have it, so.
Yeah.
So the zoning is there, it's just that finding somebody to want to
Yeah.
do something within that project.
And they may find the demand to have some, restaurant
I mean, we
type
did a
facilities
study
there,
that, a few years ago, that, looked at, looked at Highway 6, looked at 90, and we ought to go back, and maybe Joe Esch ought to go back, if he hasn't, go back and revisit that study that included some retail and industrial along the 90 corridor and Beltway.
Well, and you just did the Texas Parkway one, which kind of included some of these areas, and it showed that you needed to, you've got to increase your workload, as far as number of workers and stuff like that that are there during the day as well. You don't have the numbers right now to justify retail location up in this north part of Missouri City.
We looked at one time about a possible hotel at the corner of, on the other side, on the northwest side, or be whatever the other side is. On that corner, not this corner, but the opposite corner. There was interest at one time about even a hotel at that corner, so looked like the retail interest is on the other side. Because that's where the access is.
And Mayor, as you just stated, we talk about, even though this is industrial, but at the same time, there are homes. If you look at nearby, shopping centers, I'm talking about, groceries and retails and stuff like that, there's none back in that pocket. Now, yet again, I'm not trying to tell you to put one next to Benny Keith, and that's not the point. The point is some sort of and finding similar to what Councilmember White was talking about, a mixed use maybe at least, not just all of it.
And the mixed use could possibly exist on the Ted Miller side of the property, on the Ted Miller side of 90A.
Yeah.
On this one, your access is very, as far as limited. So you're not going to be able to, I mean, we've had others go by and take a look at it, and nobody wants to have anything other than has been industrial for that property.
So let's say Ted Miller comes up and 4 years down the road and he says the same thing, then what do we do?
That's, you, council will have to take on that challenge 4 years down the road.
And that's why I'm saying, you just stated, councils, come up with this comprehensive plan 5 years ago. Except for Councilmember Wyatt and the mayor, none of us were here 5 years ago.
And a comprehensive plan, I mean, it's an evolving document. It doesn't stay. I mean, it changes as your city changes. So, when it's time to update it, I mean, these are things that can be updated. I think we have to take advantage of the moment. We don't know when any of that other property is going to be developed.
And hopefully they get some retail.
It's, how long has this sat here without development? So, I mean, we can say, well, yeah, the other side or whatever, but we have no idea when someone's going to come in and develop that. And I guess, as for a city, we have the ability to negotiate, with these developers when they're coming in, on putting certain things, especially with the limited amount of land that we have left to develop in the city, period.
And as one who financed a lot of this stuff at one point in time, let me tell you what, a restaurant cannot afford the square footage along Beltway 8. You may have a service station that pays $65, $75 a foot. You may have a bank like we paid $75 a foot at Highway 6 and 59 and didn't get it. You're not gonna, a restaurant or retail business cannot make it when they're paying that for a square footage on retail. Now, up 90A, maybe.
But not even then.
But not
till
Beltway
610.
8 footage. I can tell you right now, they can't afford to build a restaurant and make any money based on what that property is worth, a square foot. These guys out here know what it's worth a square foot because they know what they're paying for it. That's why it has sat there. You'd have a Papacitas right there today probably if they could afford that, to pay what they want that square footage for. But access is an issue, but the square footage property value of that is going to drive retail away. I mean, look up and down Beltway 8 today, even in Stafford, all the way to 59. You don't see a retail spot along there. You finally get to Beltway 8 in Fondren, and you got a Subway and a couple of other little shops in there, and none of them are doing very well. It's too expensive. You can't do it. Beltway property is, you got a feeder road issue. Remember that Fondren exit is a paid toll exit. Gessner is the last unpaid toll exit to get off of, so I don't know. I'd love to see some nice restaurants down there in that area too, and like I said, I hope that the more of this business we drive, get somebody down the road to building something that attracts people to their shop. But I mean, right now they go into Stafford, and where are they going? Airport and 90A, or Airport and 1092, because that's where the cheap retail space is.
How long have we been trying to find a good use for this?
Well,
property?
it was called the Salazar Tract for a long time because a church bought it before they realized that they couldn't get the zoning for a church, because it was going to take that great piece of commercial property off our tax rolls and they wouldn't be paying taxes on it. Then they sold it to Dr. Carroll, who was in California, who thought it was a great deal, and he was going to come in with apartments and houses and everything else, and he couldn't find a user for it. Again, the cost of the property drives what goes there.
Then you also have brownfield issues on the side of Cravens, which we recently, as far as took care of. But as far
Well, you look at
as
even
they
Akeem's
have
property.
that sitting
He
on
couldn't, Akeem bought, the old
Tang City.
Tang City. And we finally, had to make him clean it up because he couldn't do anything with it. And I hope that as this stuff continues to develop, they move on up 90A and take on some of that other stuff all the way to Adams, or all the way to Bull Lane.
Well, but I wouldn't give out on hope for anything retail may happen, but some of it comes as development occurs.
Yeah.
And so, until something's, if north of the Benny Keaton, this property may not even been in consideration, as well as Lakeview Business Park. They kind of breed, businesses kind of breed that way of bringing in other business. So I wouldn't give out any hope, but we need to just be mindful and watchful to see what.
And we still got two other corners too. We still got the other side of 90A and Beltway 8 that backs up to Fondren Park.
So this fits a comprehensive plan?
Correct.
Okay. And what's the staff's recommendation?
Staff's recommendation is to approve.
That's your motion?
With, I guess there were a couple of.
Got a motion.
Right, to apply pretty much the same identical
Okay.
regulations as applied in Lakeview with some modifications
Rock
to
and
that.
roll.
Okay.
Councilwoman Ford made the motion, Councilman White made the second.
What are we voting on?
If there's no more discussion,
Okay. What's the motion?
To approve?
to approve.
Okay.
If there's no more discussion, we'll vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3.
An ordinance of the City of Missouri City, Texas, changing the zoning classification of 3.52 acres of land from LC3 Retail District to PD Plan Development District, regulating and restricting the development and use of property within such plan development district, providing for a site plan, providing for construction in accordance with said plan, amending the zoning district map of the City of Missouri City, providing for an amendment to the comprehensive plan, providing for appeal, providing a penalty, providing for severability, and containing other provisions relating to the subject.
There's a public hearing. I didn't have anyone sign up to speak at this particular item to public. The applicant may be here, but, yes, ma'am.
The applicant is here, and they do have a presentation.
That's good.
To give you an overview of what they're proposing, so I'm not going to rehash that, but I will say that Planning and Zoning is forwarding a positive recommendation. There are some let me see. Their presentation includes the architectural design of the development and information on the proposed development itself. Maria's pulling up their presentation, but essentially we're talking about 4 climate-controlled mini storage facilities along Trammell Fresno with a limited frontage along Highway 6. They are looking to blend in terms of the architectural design with development that's under construction out there today. Their proposed site is next door to the Huntington senior residential community that's under construction. And then there's also another development that's going in at the corner of Trammell Fresno and Highway 6. And so they are looking to match and complement those new buildings that would be developed in the next year or so. Let's see.
Where are we on the other one? Isn't there another one that's going on Highway 6?
There's one that's
Public
going
storage.
on in off of,
Yeah, I thought so.
Behind Murphy's there.
yes. They're under construction already.
Yeah, behind
Well,
Murphy's.
I thought there was.
The Huntington?
No,
No, no,
the
no.
other mini storage unit
Behind
that's
the
been
gas
under
station.
construction. as
Behind
well.
Murphy's gas
Behind
station.
Murphy's gas station on
Yes,
Highway 6.
they're under construction.
How many units is it? Do you remember?
They have 4 buildings. Phase 1 includes the first 2 buildings behind Midtown Market on Highway 6.
And this is another one?
This would be another public storage. Public storage has 2 facilities already along Highway 6, one in Rocky Creek, and then this would be a 3rd facility along that stretch.
No.
Well, along Highway
Yeah.
6.
Along Highway 6.
This would be 4.
There's one on the north side.
Yeah,
of
there's
6,
one where the flag is,
That one,
where
Rocky
the Burger
Creek.
King was.
and the one by Murphy, and this would be,
Oh, the one by Murphy is not public storage, but it's mini storage. It's, yes, yes.
it's public.
Yes,
storage.
it's a
not
different
main
company,
public
but
storage,
it is mini storage, yes.
Yes, it is mini storage,
Yes.
so this would be 4.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to let them go ahead and do their presentation, and then that way they can cover
Peter's on the back row.
what they're proposing. There is, in terms of handouts, you have a handout of their
He's
presentation.
hiding, I can tell.
Handout of their presentation of the slides, and then also you have a copy of a support letter that was submitted this afternoon for the project
From who?
from Peter Jacob.
Oh, really?
Really?
I bet it didn't come from the residents over there.
And they can speak to, they did meet with Oakwick Forest as well. They went to one of the regular Oakwick Forest meetings earlier last month.
Mr.
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, Dallas Cothram, 2909 Hillcroft. I told this to Plan Commission, it seemed pertinent too, that I remember when I was still a professor, I once called my major professor about doing a graduation speech, and he gave me 2 pieces of advice. Number 1, no one will remember you afterwards, and number 2, it's much better to be fast than good. So given that y'all have had a long night, and that he was a wise man then, that I will try to be fast and good, but at least fast. So, and I'll try and speak to some of the comments, and the point I'd like you to make is, I saw some reservation about, it's a storage deal. I hope I can convince you that you'll be pleased that this provides some retail pairing where retail can go, and we provide a very significant tax base for you while not consuming any city services. So, on with the show, if you will. So we are not giving up any of our underlying zoning rights. So if for some reason we failed to close, it could still be retail. But I will tell you, public storage, it has over 2,500 locations in the U.S. We will, we find our own sites, we get them, and we've done a lot of work for Public Storage, our company, dating from the 80s. And so they'll build it, they'll operate it themselves, and they've never closed a store. And so this is a $30 billion a year company with really, and hopefully I can show you a slide here in a minute that speaks to that. So, we did have a meeting with the neighborhood. Storage uses are not things that get people excited, but they're used by the very people that have questions. And so, we can speak to all these kind of things that typically come up and have studied those in some depth, or other colleges or universities have. So, these are the things I think that are important. The neighbors were very sensitive to traffic. Of the 900 things studied by the ITE, this is the lowest generator of traffic. And their study
it doesn't, we have our own studies. We have 2,500 locations. It's easy to draw on a lot of data. Your 2 locations in the city already today have 5 or 6 trips a day. This is a multi-story building. People go less frequently because there's some barrier. You don't just come and go. So you probably would not find a pharmaceutical rep who leases a space on the 2nd floor and comes every day. That'd be unusual in a non kind of urban setting. So our peak time Saturday and Sunday, so it's not during your typical peak time. You know, we really believe, because of our few trips, we're a good buffer. And we can use a strange shaped piece of property. We don't have to have a lot of frontage. Not important to us. It's what you said. I mean, the price drives this. We can pay an A price, a retail price for property, and we don't have to have the corner, the best spot. We can take like this. This is kind of a mid-block site. It's not super easy to get to. Fine. People will know it's there. Our 2 facilities already in town have over 90% occupancy. One's 90%, one's 97%. So we'll make the site work. We've never failed on a store with 2,500. And then last, this concept of it assists with retail pairing. I'll show you a Wall Street Journal study that shows there's just less and less retail being built. And if you're saving something for retail and it's not a really great retail site, it's probably not going to come. It would have already come. The retail boom has already passed. So this is why people don't like storage. They think of things from 1980. And I blame my dad, who founded our business, that, you know, he did a lot of storage work through the years. Times change. I mean, people don't like garden style apartments anymore. I mean, and times change. So this is public storage. $173 share price. I mean, you know, here are some of the other people in the industry. They're the best one in their industry. So they're the Neiman Marcus or whoever you want. They're a superior operator. So they're in the same business as all these other folks, but their share price is way higher. It's because they pick great sites, they know how to operate them, and they build them not on the cheap. They'll spend much more. This is a $12 million project. So we're building a building that structurally is more expensive to build than an office building because of the load associated with. So this is, and we've really tried to treat this on 4 sides like that it is a real building. We don't want people to drive by and say, oh, it's storage. We want people to drive by and remember it's storage, because more and more people use storage. So these are our other clients our firm represents, and if you compare, I bet if I had surveyed people in here, if I had told you Public Storage trades for more than Coke and Ford and McDonald's combined, you wouldn't have realized that. And so that's, you know, this is just I hope to associate that concept of you're not settling for something, you're getting the best operator in a particular business that will have a $12 million positive impact on the city without a negative association. So, I mean, that's comparable to a lot of apartment deals, you know, would be in that price range, and more than retail. So, they're a California-based company. I've covered a lot of these things, and it's late. So, you know, if you have questions, we're a date essentially 6 to 9 p.m. So it's not a 24-hour operation, and we are only taking our access, no access off of Trammell Fresno. When we had our neighborhood meeting, we had done that without any suggestion. The neighborhood people, we've done a lot of this. We came up with something that we went in where we didn't have to negotiate a lot, because we just said, hey, we're going to do a Class A building. We're not going to have a lot of traffic. We're not going to have any traffic on Trammell Fresno. And they were very sensitive about cut-through traffic. And so, you know, we're the least invasive user that you can imagine. So here are the stores. I just had pictures of what you probably drive by them, and I'm going to guess probably don't really notice. You know, that's kind of what happens with this. Here's the site, 2 large air-conditioned buildings, 2 one-story buildings that really help us kind of create a fence, if you will. And there's some users that are going to want to have things that shouldn't be stored inside, lawn equipment, I don't know, canoes, whatever you have. I have 2 elementary school kids, and I coach a bunch of teams. We got a lot of stuff. Thankfully, I can get some free storage. Site considerations, I've talked about most of these. We're meeting all your requirements on colors, buffering and those particulars Jennifer can talk to. By the way, your staff was excellent to work with. We really did appreciate it. Here's the site plan again. It's in your packet as well. You know, we contacted Camden, who is one of our clients. It's the fee developer on this seniors facility. The photo you'll see there, they have garages that back up to us.
Right.
So, you know, and what?
We required them to.
Yes, absolutely. But we're not, we're you know, I guess from a unit you could see us, but, you know, we don't face. We do have a letter of support we provided before from Discount Tire. They, you know, thought we were a fine user, I guess, next to them. I mean, it's hard to get a letter out of any retail guy, but we, you know, Mark Carrero managed to do that, so I gave him a good pat on the back. So here's, y'all know the neighborhood. I mean, I'm not going to show you these. There's some elevations. I think these are better. We're meeting all your landscape requirements, you know, and we don't have a lot of, you know, color on it, if you will. You know, we didn't ask for any exception. Here's the view from the neighborhood. You know, here's a study that was produced by a university about, you know, and that's kind of the question. And I heard some sort of, oh my God, we have a bunch of these. Percentage-wise, you are a city that has a very low amount of storage for your city. Some of that, I mean, I guess I could, you know, make something up, but a lot of it is that it's just growing to you. But you have these other things that are fueling them that people just don't think about. People, since World War II, consume more and more things. They don't get rid of things. So sort of this notion of a people of plenty, well, I mean, that's continuing to happen. You have more people that are what I call renters by choice. My mom sold her house in Dallas. We looked at everything under the sun. Condo, high-rise, townhome, patio homes. It was a brutal process that I often did with an infant, and not my wife. But she ended up deciding that she wanted to rent. And so she's in an apartment now. There are more, but she didn't want to give up all her stuff. She might need that full dining room suite. And actually, number one thing that is stored, furniture. Number two, appliances. So, you know, we all know this. We've probably done it. You also see a lot of people that are settling estates. They want to sell the house quickly, and they rent storage so that they can go through all the stuff at their leisure, particularly if people are from out of town. So homeowner association rules are a big driver of you can't have an RV, you have to have usable garages that you park in, less room for stuff, if you will. This kind of whole HGTV trend about open floor plans, people that are remodeling are losing closet space. We just did that. I don't recommend with 2 elementary school people you do a full remodel of your kitchen and don't have one for 3 months, but we ended up with a great kitchen and not nearly as much place for stuff on our first floor. My wife just got rid of things, mostly mine. So, I mean, and foreclosures, unfortunately, that's kind of driven some of it too. People don't want to give up their stuff. They may give up their home, but they store their stuff figuring they'll own a home later. So, there's some other reasons there, but I could tell y'all are thinking, wow, we're going to have a bunch of these. That happens, you know, regularly. I mean, I know there's a place in Frisco where they have hamburger wars right by City Hall. Burger King is next to Wendy's, is next to Whataburger. You know, you'll routinely have BMW next to Lexus, next to Cadillac, that there's some clustering, and, you know, that's for the market to sort out. I hope y'all will decide we're not impactful, the neighborhood's not opposed. You know, we're less invasive than a hotel would be, and you know, so you know your economy's booming. You know, particularly your area is. I don't have to tell you that. You know, our service area though is right here. I mean, it'll serve people in that area, and we're building a different kind of storage than other people are. I mean, there's not this is kind of a more urban type of product. It's expensive. And so let's look at these. So there's 3 columns here, you know, that show what the tax burden for the property is. Right now, it's not producing much tax revenue. We looked at an alternate scenario, which was from dealing with our seller, who, remember, our seller is also our neighbor in the future. He has a leftover tract, so it's reasonable to assume he's not likely to want to sell to us if he thinks it would damage his remainder, which is the front good piece, by the way. So, so we looked at a hotel use and a restaurant use, a fast food restaurant use. Those are both things that could go on the site together. And if you look at those combined, and I know there's no sales tax there, but we're 3 or 4 times that number. So again, I want you to really, hopefully you appreciate that because we're doing a multi-story air-conditioned building, we're making a big investment, and one that we'll continue to carry. We are not sellers. Public Storage doesn't sell. Public Storage, you'll notice, has bought those 2 other assets in your community. They routinely buy things from regional developers. They don't see them even as adversaries. They like that they develop things that they can operate more efficiently because they have 2,500 locations. So that's the tax one. And here, I do a lot of neighborhood meetings, and we have offices in Austin and Houston and Dallas. And I hear the same thing every time. We want a Whole Foods or an H-E-B, and we want a sit-down restaurant. I mean, I hear the same thing over and over. But the numbers show, and I'm not any different as a consumer, I would like the same thing. But the fact is, if you look at this, retail has just fallen absolutely off the cliff. I mean, we just hardly do any retail work anywhere in the state anymore. It is very rare. It just doesn't exist. The big Target's doing 2 new stores in the whole country. You just don't get that work. And so here, you've got kind of a site that's a little bit mid-block, and it doesn't really speak to anybody. You got an automotive use next to it. I don't know who the end user is. I think we fit in. People won't notice us until they need us. And here's the other one. If you look at, here's retail Christmas traffic. We do most of our shopping online. And I think probably you're doing more of the same. These are national numbers. So that's sort of why storage. Well, some of it is that's what the market's saying is that this is maybe not what the developer originally thought would go there. I think he may have thought hotel. We're a better user from a tax perspective than that hotel user. So here's an interesting slide that talks about gross national product has gone up. Storage matches very closely with it historically. So, good economy, a lot of storage. Public Storage wants to do more than 100 Texas locations. They're not even active in many other states. So, I think that's, really kind of a product of that these are good times. So, I'm happy, traffic, we've got statistics. I'll show you one other slide. We've done sort of a statistical study in a bunch of Dallas and North Texas locations, some in Austin, that show, or maybe don't demonstrate anything other than that, living next to storage is not necessarily a negative. If you look at this slide here, you would think that living near the church or near a water feature would be better for your property value rates to rise. That's not true. Here's another one in Carrollton where, if you're adjacent to Public Storage's facility, your rates have gone up. And you would think, number 2, back in the back by the water feature, those rates would be higher. I'm not saying that there's an association that you will do better being by Public Storage or by any storage one. It's just a non-factor. You're much worse being behind a retail user that has a dumpster and those sorts of things. We're compatible, and we really see ourselves as a neighborhood services land use. The same way, dry cleaner, things people use, maybe not every day, but they need, and all things being even, they're gonna want storage where they live. They don't want to drive 8 or 10 miles for their storage option. So again, we're meeting all the suggestions, not asking for changes with staff. They help us work through that. We're not going to rent trucks and vans. We have no outside storage. It's we think for us, a fancy, expensive building that we just want to fit in, and we'd ask for you to follow Plan Commission's unanimous approval and recommend it. Happy to answer your questions.
As a user of public storage that I have been for 10 years, because I got kids. You put that up there. My kids' stuff is in one of the 2 units that I had. I'm down to 1. But let me tell you this. If I have to call our code enforcement people, another single time about the looks of the one you got on 1092, I will vote against this. Because if I have to call them and tell them to cut the grass and to take care of the front end of that, you're not going to get my vote.
I'll call them tonight.
1092.
Yeah, 1092, across from the golf course.
Yeah.
Right, Gary?
Oh, okay.
And how many times have I called about the grass needing cut and the shrubbery needing cut because it looked like crap right across the street from our golf course?
I'm on it.
Now, that's what happens with people in public storage, because they see that, and that's the idea they get. Now, mine is down the street from you, and it doesn't look like that. I did call you one time. I did call to get their quote. But anyway, they need to clean their act up.
We'll work on it.
And the other thing is, don't come in here and want a flag.
Well,
a flag?
Yeah. We got the other storage unit down on Highway 6.
We're happy to
has a telephone antenna with a big flag at the top of it.
Oh, a stealth tower?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
no,
stealth
we're,
tower,
we're,
so.
you know, no,
Well,
we're,
I think you're right. I think there's a demand for it. You know, one of the things that we're probably helping your business with is that with these apartments that are going in where we're requiring 50% garages, I'm also insisting in their leases that those garages
Are
not be
usable.
used for storage.
yeah,
Because
that's,
that's what's happening. Unfortunately, the landlords are not enforcing that rule, so then that puts the burden. My daughter lived in an apartment. She had to walk, 3 miles to her apartment because everybody that had a garage was full of storage stuff, and they were parking in their spots.
no, we like cities that do that. I mean, that's,
We're forcing them to do that. You're next to a facility that's going to have garages for that seniors, and I hope that they do utilize a storage facility next door rather than their garages that are on site. At least they could walk next door to yours, but clean your act up.
1092.
Clean that act up.
Is that one, do you know if they developed it or bought it?
I have no.
Doesn't matter.
I
It's
don't
our
care.
responsibility.
It's got
We'll
your
do-
name
we'll
on
do
it.
better.
It's
That's
got
right.
your name on it. I don't care who owns it. It's kind of like me with Wells Fargo.
The Texas guy will
It has
know.
Wells Fargo
The
on
Texas
it.
guy will know tonight, don't worry. Somebody will hear about it in the morning, if not tonight.
Okay, I trust you.
Weren't there some changes to the color scheme of the doors that we
Yes,
asked
yes,
for?
we just agreed to we had at one point, and I think one of your commissioners brought up, why do you always do orange doors? One guy in California has the contract to do doors. Obviously, that's our color, and we like that. And it's easier for us to do the same one over and over, but we're willing to meet your earth tone rules, and we cried uncle, that's fine. I'm not gonna say it looks better, but you did, that's fine. We're willing and able.
Do you have wine storage on the second floor?
We could do that. Actually, I've done a couple that where we've done that. That's really more market driven when they hire a manager. It's very easy to do. They've done some of that. I've done a couple of those. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, 59 and Kirby, somewhere in there, there's
Yeah.
one that's,
Can you expand a little bit on the conversations that you had with the neighbors?
Yeah.
As far as Mr. Potes, did you?
Yeah, we had a neighborhood meeting at the HEB, where they had a general membership meeting. We went and had a very similar, actually probably more detail on things like property value and what does it look like and what's the landscaping and what are they going to see and traffic. I mean, we've done enough of these that they're less concerned and less knowledgeable about the development code. They had questions about security. They didn't know maybe somebody would live there. They were worried about, who's going to be in it. And I think they felt better when they knew the whole site is secured. It's all cameraed. If you're, and in fact now, if you go in and you're there too long, the manager will get an email on their phone that says, the person in unit 205 or whatever has been there an unusual amount of time. Now, they'll know if there's someone that there's daily, like the pharmaceutical rep, that might be normal for them, but otherwise it's abnormal and they'll kind of investigate that. So I think they felt better afterwards. I know what they don't like. They don't want a fast food restaurant. I don't think they were real keen on a what they called a motel, might technically be a hotel. I don't think that they were overjoyed about that this is an option. I do think that we worked hard on, and we met with them contacted them before we filed anything. And the biggest thing was the Trammell Fresno. I know that they are really adamant about cut-through traffic, and having been on it now some, it's pretty busy. And so I think that they, they clearly, y'all know, they know where y'all are, and they see us as, you know, we want to be a neighbor. We've said that our person that is in charge of that facility will be in the homeowners association. They'll live there. So they were nice to deal with. I think they appreciated that we didn't try and do a whole bunch of orange. They were very concerned about our plum and orange colors. And when we showed them that we're not asking for extra, I think that softened some of them. We left with no one, I mean, we didn't need a follow-up meeting. It was
Well, they aren't
actually-
here.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. I mean, so, and that's what the goal is we want to turn those people into users of the facility. And that happens. I mean, so I hope that speaks to it.
All right, thank you.
Peter, is yours full down there at Rocky Creek?
I'm sorry, sir?
Is the one in Rocky Creek full?
I think they're at 90%.
90%.
We sold it to Public Storage. We sold our Rocky Creek
Oh, you
South
did?
Storage Facility to Public Storage almost 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, 90%.
And may I make one correction?
Yeah,
Okay, the facility on 1090,
yeah.
it's not Public Storage.
What is
It's
it?
American Mini Storage.
Is
You're
it?
talking the one directly across from the golf course?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Whoever
That's
it
not-
is.
That's not.
Whoever it
Public
is, I don't
Storage.
want any of them look like that.
Yeah, right, but it wasn't Public Storage.
These two, I mean, I've been to them. They look pretty good.
So this is the one
I
that's
mean,
got the lighthouse.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and then the one with Austin Stone by him, they have a very good looking, I took pictures and have used
Oh,
it
yeah,
somewhere
it's
else.
nice. Yeah, it's
They
a
have
nice
a
facility.
motorhome building that you don't find many of those. I think it has 6 or 8 slots.
Yeah.
I know homeowner people love to get those out of the neighborhood.
The one at,
Now, that's a
the one at
covered,
Texas Parkway.
Covered, yeah,
with
it's all
the
inside.
lighthouse, that is the one with the flag, isn't it?
no, well,
Huh? Huh? Isn't that the one that has the cell tower?
on 6?
The one with the lighthouse.
I thought it did, okay, yeah.
Yes.
We bought that.
Well, you bought a flag, so I'll
Yeah.
just remind you that part of that agreement for putting that cell tower up is that flag needs to be replaced when it gets tattered. And I get calls from people all the time, because you can see that baby from everywhere.
Yeah.
And the minute it gets tattered, I got every veteran in the city calling me, telling me they need to replace that flag. That's yours now, by the way.
We own that
Yeah.
duty. My daughter did the pledge today, led the school in the pledge. I don't,
Okay.
Big deal. We
Well,
practiced all
Good
weekend.
one. Very good. Well, I'm glad the residents didn't show up, because as you can tell,
We-
some do.
No, and we know that having done this, you need them to either be in favor or not against you, or it's not worth trying one of these. And a lot of times, it's educational, that they have reasonable fears
Yeah.
of things. And if you explain to them, we're not going to have a lot of trips, you're okay. But I appreciate your time.
Well, I applaud you for going to them first, because that keeps them from coming here first and finding out what they don't want to know. So thank you for doing that. Did you go to that meeting?
That one? No.
Yeah.
It was,
Okay. It's your district, isn't it? Okay.
He wasn't available.
it's yours also.
You're
Isn't
right,
it?
yeah.
Isn't it yours also?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I just thought I'd check that out.
I just trust.
So we can go,
No, I just trusted Peter. All right, we have, do I have a motion from you?
Motion, yeah.
Mr. Emery?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem Ellicat. Is there discussion? Ooh. Not, we'll vote. All those in favor? Motion carries. All right, guys. All right, item 7B, 7B1.
An ordinance of the City of Missouri City, Texas, creating reinvestment zone number 14 encompassing an approximate 6.2087 acre tract of land located southwest of the intersection of Buffalo Run and Fondren Road in the City of Missouri City, Texas, making related findings and providing for severability.
And this is the second final reading. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Wyatt, second by Councilman Preston. All those in favor? Motion carries. Item 7B2.
An ordinance of the City of Missouri City, Texas, amending Chapter 82 subdivisions of the Missouri City Code, amending the rules and regulations relating to providing a cash payment in lieu of parkland dedication, providing for appeal, providing a penalty, and providing for severability.
This is the first of 2 readings. Yes, sir.
Mayor and Council, parkland dedication fee has not been updated since March 5th of 2007. Due to rising construction costs and increased growth in the community, it's recommended that the fee be reviewed and updated. The ordinance was first adopted by City Council in 1986, and I believe that fee was $350 per dwelling unit. It's set up to mitigate the impact of new residential development on the existing Missouri City Park system. Through this ordinance, the developer would be required to either provide parkland for their new residents or pay an impact fee. Like I said, the first fee established was $350 per dwelling unit. In 2004, it was increased to $700, to $900 in 2005, and $1,200 in 2007. The fees were based on a 2004 study of parkland dedication fees. Currently, the subdivision requires the dedication for residential development of 1 acre per 100 dwelling units, or the $1,200 per dwelling unit. We utilized a consultant for this study, Half and Associates. They're also working on our master plan update, which will be presented to you shortly. The consultant formula recommended rate was $1,360 per dwelling unit. The Parks Board recommended to round the per unit dwelling cost to $1,400. HALF also recommends that the city remain with the ordinance figure of 1 acre per 100 dwelling units. Parks Board unanimously approved this recommendation to council on June 5th, 2014, and P&Z did the same unanimously on August 13th, 2014. The parkland dedication fee is a revenue stream and set up in order to meet the rising costs of park construction. Staff recommends the parkland dedication fee be increased to $1,400 per dwelling unit.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Second. You know, my question about this is that based on the per cost per dwelling unit, we seem to have the highest fee of anybody in the area. Now, I'm sure there may be some rationale for why that is, but we ought to be able to know why that is. So is there any insight into that? I mean, you got Sugarland at $350, Pearland at $750. You know, what is the difference?
I talked to Pearland director and the Sugarland director when I was getting these fees, and the other fees were taken out of a 2010 study that I found online. Pearland is in the process of updating their parkland dedication fee. They're anxious to see what you all decide we need to do. The city of Sugarland, their director, he's been there 7 years. They've not even considered raising the fee. I think they have another revenue stream that goes directly to parks and for development. He said in an email that most of our developments come in a planned development with their trails and parkland incorporated into their development plans and usually meeting or exceeding the requirements that they would have to meet if there were standard developments. He just says that right now the city managers do not feel it's an issue that they're going to tackle right now.
Now, we don't have a whole lot of area left to do this with, though, do we?
But we don't have any big track. Well, we got some
Other
pretty
than
good
step
sized
out on the
track.
toll road or down Lake Olympia Boulevard.
I
but-
guess the answer that I really was looking for, look at our parks. Look at the parks in these other cities. I mean, that's the telling difference. If you go to one of the cities kind of to the southeast of us, you don't see the parks you see in Missouri City. And if you go to the one that's immediately to the west of us, you don't see city parks like you do in Missouri City. And I think that's the significant difference. Now, Houston's $700, that's more of a much larger spread than our, what I was hoping to hear, and if you agree with that, let me know.
I agree with that.
Because
That was your point?
Huh?
That was your point?
But it justifies the difference in why we have that cost.
How many parks do we have per capita? That's the other part, I think. You know, what, we have 23 parks?
We have 20 developed parks, not including the rec center and the golf course.
So that would be,
2012 population based on this formula was like 69,012, so whatever that math figures out to be.
I bet the other two cities you mentioned are not near.
They
close to
don't
that.
have as many parks
No,
as
they
we do
don't have that
combined.
many, no, they don't.
Yeah.
As many community parks as we have throughout the subdivisions. But you're right, I mean, they're master plan communities, when you look at, God, what, what Riverstone did in the back here, what, $3.5 million for that booger? Ooh. Or Sienna with theirs. But that's what attracts people to the subdivisions. I'm like Jerry, I just don't want us to price ourselves so that we're up here justifying this when we got developers coming in wanting to do these things, but I don't think they're gonna argue about that. They're gonna develop their own parks, or they're gonna let us do it.
And they do get a credit when they develop their own parks within their.
Exactly.
Their.
And we encourage them to do it.
Well, but, you know, I hope in the future we use more comparative numbers than just sticking some numbers down here and saying this is what because it doesn't carry the same meaning. You understand what I'm saying? To put Sugarland here does not carry the same meaning as, I would say we are more compatible with a College Station. Because I've been there and I know what kind of parks they got. You know, Grapevine, you know, by comparison. Okay, the numbers doesn't mean anything unless they're relative to our situation.
That's true. All right, any other discussion? There was a motion by Councilman Emery and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Ellicott. Ready to vote, all those in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, before we forget it, we're going to go back to
Mayor,
L.
for the sake of time, we can postpone those presentations to the next meeting.
That works,
I would
that
like
works
that.
for me.
Please.
I second that.
I can.
So you stop pointing at your watch.
I can bite that, yes, sir. And there are no appointments. Our authorizations, 9A is consider authorizing proposal of an ad valorem tax rate by record vote and consider setting the dates for public hearings and the adoption of such proposal on a future meeting agenda. So in this particular case, each one of us has to vote and say aye or nay.
Correct.
As a record vote.
But you are
and
not.
the first meeting is.
But that's, here, we'll get to that.
Okay.
Mayor and council, I had
Trying to move this through.
100 slides to go through.
What?
Yeah.
Good. Start
Right.
with 99.
Did you have the ordinance book that he had with him?
I was just kidding.
99 and a half.
He just loaned it to you, didn't he?
Just wanted to go over, we've received our values from the Fort Bend County, July 29th. A month later, we get them from Harris County.
Yes.
Which was the 25th of, so then we were able to calculate our effective tax rate. And that will be in the paper tomorrow. That we have to give that to the paper by Friday and get more, okay. The effective rate calculation is, the effective tax rate came out to be 0.544771 per $100 valuation. That would impose the same amount of taxes as last year if you compare properties taxed in both years. So that's how that's what that's about. The rollback rate is calculated at 56.7923 per $100 valuation, and that is the highest tax rate the city can set before taxpayers can start any procedures as far as a rollback. The proposed tax rate is, the current tax rate for 2013 is 57 .57375. We're recommending the tax rate for 2014 be .565, I'm sorry.
I would lower taxes, my God.
Drop a penny.
We lowered the rate.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, but we hadn't done that in a while either, you know.
Just an overview of M&O and INS. I know y'all hear this all the time. I wanted that the rate would be broken out by the maintenance and operation portion, the M&O, and the interest and sinking portion, the INS. The M&O equals .387093. The INS, the debt portion, would be .77907 for a total of .565.
Wes, let me ask you something before when we got our valuations both from Harris County now and Fort Bend, across the board, what did we see as an increase in our overall values? I think it was like 10%, was it?
11%.
Yeah.
It's 11% now?
Higher than we had expected.
Huh?
It was higher than we had even estimated.
Okay, so we've seen 11% tax increase across the board, which is...
And just, I know you're interested in knowing how that changes from that piece of pie of commercial versus residential. And over the last 5 years, it's changed from 80% residential to 20% commercial, roughly, to 70-30. So,
yeah.
And we would like to see more, and we will, which is.
But that 11 cents equates to over $600,000, does it not?
Yes.
In additional revenue to the city.
Yes.
And the reason I go back to that, and it's a very important point for us, I think, it's when we have the naysayers that kick us around about Quail Valley and what we did as a council to take over that golf course. I think this is a classic example of what this council wanted to happen in the long run. And we talk about, we haven't maybe gotten there yet as far as revenue off of the facility. But this is, I keep saying it's the same pair of pants, it's a different pocket. This is $600,000 over here we didn't have last year. And we wouldn't have had we continued to see the property values in Quail Valley and all the rest of this city drop as they did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had some areas of the city that dropped 40% overnight. And it's going to take them 3 years to get back up. But when we look at the overall picture and we see that the city has seen 11% increase, that's a tremendous thing for us. And one that this council and those who fought so hard to make sure that that happened. You talk to realtors today, I mean, they're tickled to death about what's going on in Missouri City, so.
And it's a combination of that plus our code enforcement efforts.
Absolutely.
So it's
And
not
zoning.
just
Zoning.
zoning. So it's a combination of, even though the golf course thing at that time was a big piece of the puzzle.
Anyway, I just think that they're important. Those are important numbers. That's big numbers for us.
So the revenue generated for this proposed tax rate will fund the approved FY 2015 budget.
There.
And some items that we did not quite make that budget, such as the fire truck, $625,000, rather than
There you go.
issue the debt. Co-ban and car camera project for $96,000. The nice audio recording system for PD. The phase 2 and 3 of the Rocket Mobile Communications for first responders at $108,000 will be able to be purchased.
Outstanding.
With that, I got it on. Okay. If the council approves the next step, if the council approves the recommended tax rate of 0.565, then the council sets the public hearings for September 18th and 22nd at 5:30 in the council chambers at City Hall.
And let me clarify that. We're not asking for you to approve the tax rate tonight. What you're doing is you are setting the ceiling for what you can consider for your tax rate. Our recommendation is the 0.565. But tonight, and I think there's language actually on your cover memo that details it further, what you're doing is saying that this is the highest tax rate you will consider, and then setting the public hearings accordingly on the nights that are also listed. You will then adopt whatever tax rate you then consider at your first meeting in October.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we, by record vote, place the proposed tax rate of no greater than 0.565000 on the, for public hearing?
On,
That's consideration of adoption of the ordinance on October 6th.
On October 6th, agenda at 7 p.m. at City Hall, and set public hearings on Thursday, September the 18th, 2014, at 5:30 p.m., and Monday, September the 22nd, at 5:30 p.m. at City Hall to receive comments on such proposal.
Okay, is there a second? Second. Motion by Councilman White, a second by Councilman Emery. We'll vote. Councilman Preston? Aye.
Aye.
Councilman White?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries.
Very good.
All right, item 10A is an ordinance.
Of the City of Missouri City, Texas, amending the general budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2014 and ending June 30, 2015, transferring various appropriations among accounts, appropriating supplemental revenue to various fund accounts, authorizing the appropriate city officials to take steps necessary to accomplish such transfers, making certain findings and containing certain provisions relating to the subject.
Is there a motion? This is a standard thing we do, so. Is there a motion? Mayor Pro Tem Alacant made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilman White made the second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Item A11, a resolution is 11A.
Of the City Council of the City of Missouri City, Texas, authorizing the mayor to execute and the city secretary to attest a tax abatement agreement by and between the City of Missouri City, Texas and Lufkin Industries, LLC, pertaining to certain real property improvements to an approximately 6.2087 acre tract of land located in reinvestment zone number 14 in the City of Missouri City, Texas.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Ford, are you seconding? District, Ms. Ford, I'm trying to help you out here. Got a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Not, we'll vote. All those in favor, motion carries. We have no closed executive session, right?
Correct.
We took care of it all. Anything else? Any announcements?
Missouri City Police Officers Tournament,
Yes, sir.
September 12th.
What kind of tournament?
Be there, be
Golf
square.
tournament. We
Golf
don't play tennis at the golf course.
Mayor Allen,
Okay?
Yeah.
quick statement.
Yeah.
Something that's been weighing heavily on me for the past couple of weeks, and so I just wanted to make a public statement about it, if I may. Over the past 3 weeks, our nation has watched the tragedy in Ferguson, Missouri unfold, seared by images reminiscent of a past America. We've witnessed a community lose faith in a system meant to serve and protect them. We've witnessed the bad acts of a few diminish the progress of many. What happened in Ferguson could have happened anywhere in America, and our shared humanity calls for shared responsibility, because when something affects our neighbor, it affects us all. As elected officials, it's our job to ensure that our residents not only feel protected, but also have confidence in those that pledge to protect them. My faith teaches that it's not my role to cast judgment on those involved in the events surrounding Ferguson, Missouri. However, it is my humanitarian duty to provide moral support to those affected. Furthermore, it is my civic obligation to encourage constructive dialogue amongst our community. At a local level, let us use this tragedy as a teachable moment to build mutual respect and stronger relationships with our neighbors, regardless of race, religion, or gender. Additionally, let us build tighter bonds with those that serve and protect Missouri City daily. My sincerest thoughts and prayers are with Michael Brown, the Brown family, the Ferguson community, the Ferguson Police Department, and Officer Wilson. Special thanks to the Missouri City Police Department for your tireless work day in and day out. We sincerely appreciate it, but I did want to make that statement, so thank you all.
You bet. All right. Where are we going? Huh?